is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Wisconsin.
Beautiful Friday night in the Bay. We welcome you from San Francisco as the road trip continues. Brewers dropping 2 out of 3 in San Diego. Had a day off yesterday here and now ready to start a series on Orange Friday here in San Francisco. It's the Brewers and the Giants. Brian Vogelsong for San Francisco. It'll be Willie Peralta looking for win number 16, trying to go to the top of the National League wins list. And everybody, we welcome you from beautiful AT Park in San Francisco. Thanks for staying up late with us. Alongside Bill Schroeder, I'm Brian Anderson. Telly Hughes, our reporter tonight. Now the Brewers going to try to lick their wounds and get back to winning ways after a devastating loss on Wednesday. Now they have the Giants. The Giants are contenders. The Brewers are going to send up Willie Peralta, who's looking for a repeat performance against San Francisco.
Yeah, and you can look at what the series provides right now. You got Willie, who needs to really have a nice bounce-back start. Particularly again that last outing against the Pirates, where he went 3 2/3 hitless baseball. Then the kind of bottom fell out, and he did not have a very good outing. 7 earned runs in 5 innings, all coming in an inning and a third. But he's got to be much better. The kind of guy that he was against the San Francisco Giants, that was back on August 7th. Look at the way he was able to throw that slider exactly where he wanted it, good location. And that's what he needs today. This Giants team playing some pretty good baseball. They're starting to score some runs. Everything's starting to come around for San Francisco all of a sudden.
Yeah, the Giants have won 6 of their last 9. Peralta had a career high in strikeouts against these heavy-hitting Giants. We'll talk about the Giants bats when we continue. We'll send it to our studio in Wisconsin right after this.
Is brought to you by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. By Miller Lite, now in the original can. It's Miller time. By Toyota, let's go places. And by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. After dropping consecutive games in San Diego, the crew has moved up the coast to kick off a weekend series against the Giants. Hello and welcome back to AT Park. I am Telly Hughes. Before the Brewers try to get back on track tonight, all the attention were focused on Matt Garza and his return as he pitched in a simulated game here earlier today under the watchful eye of pitching coach Rick Kranitz. Garza pitched 3 innings under game-like conditions, facing live hitters, and made out extremely well. Garza threw a combined 47 pitches, using all his pitches, even breaking a few bats. Mark Reynolds, to be exact. Here's Garza on how things went today.
I'm good. Had to work out a little bit of nerves, more anxiety than anything, but felt great. Ball came out good after the first couple, and just let it go, let it eat. It was fun to get back in there, especially against my guys. They know me well, so they knew what to look for, and it felt good. You know, next test to see how I wake up.
Coming up, can Willie Peralta power the crew past the Giants to open the series? Brian Anderson and Bill Schroeder will be back with the first pitch and call from the Bay next on Fox Sports Wisconsin.
And it's got that fall feel to it, doesn't it? Always in the summer here in San Francisco. 66 degrees. And they're expecting a big crowd tonight. And these two teams are poised to make it to the postseason. See what's going on tonight around the league. The Pirates have beaten the Reds. Pittsburgh stays red hot right now. And then you got the Cubs and the Cardinals tied at 2 in the bottom of the 7th inning. So as we speak, the Brewers with a 1.5 game lead over St. Louis. The Pirates are now within 3.5 of Ron Renick's Brew Crew, who has been in first place since April 5th, and they're trying to keep it that way after this weekend series in San Francisco. Associated Bank batting order for the Brewers tonight. Carlos Gomez will lead off. He got a change in the 2 spot tonight. Scooter Gennett will hit second. Then Ryan Braun hits third. Ramirez batting cleanup. Lucroy's moved down into the 5 spot. And then we see the left-handers with Gerardo Parra in left. Lyle Overbay gets a call at first. Elian Herrera back in the starting lineup at shortstop tonight. And Willie Peralta will round out the Brewers' 9. Well, Gene Segura continues to scent. Elian Herrera continues to get the starts. It'll be his 9th start of the season at shortstop. And for more on that, we check in with Telly Hughes.
Well, Elian is coming off a really good game in San Diego where he made some great defensive plays as well as had 2 hits. And Ron Renicky said he just wanted to get Elian back in there and, ride the hot hand, but secondly, he wanted to get more left-handed hitters against Ryan Vogelsong. And of course, Elian is a switch hitter, and as you mentioned during that lineup, there's a lot of lefties down in the bottom half of the order. So those were a couple of reasons why Ron Renicky wanted to go back to Elian Herrera, but he said he expects Gene to be back in there come tomorrow.
All right, thank you, Telly. Probably see Chris Davis back in there as well. Gomez ready to lead off. And that sets us up, Rock, for Ryan Vogelsong, who is making his 27th start. It'll be his 2nd against Milwaukee this year.
Yeah, 26 starts. He's got 1 complete game. That was right before he won a game at Miller Park. He shut out a complete game against the Mets. Has not won since his win against the Brewers. He's 0-1 in his last 3 starts.
Gomez had a leadoff home run against Vogelsong in that game. First pitch is in there for a strike, and away we go. It'll be a live wire crowd. It usually is here in San Francisco, especially when they are in a pennant race. And they most certainly are coming into play tonight. The Giants open play today, 4.5 back in the National League West, trailing the front-running Los Angeles Dodgers. San Francisco occupies one of the 2 wild card spots. They're a half game worse than the St. Louis Cardinals coming into play today. And a game and a half up on Atlanta. But you got the Pittsburgh Pirates right on their heels. Bruce Bochy has proven himself to be a very capable manager when it comes down to crunch time. 2 World Series titles here in San Francisco in the last 5 years.
Always seems to be able to work that pitching staff. Starting rotation, bullpen. He's made an adjustment with Tim Lincecum. He's in the bullpen. Not afraid to make a move is Bruce Bochy. Whatever he thinks it takes to win ball games. They won 3 in a row here at home.
And the 3-1 misses down and away, ball 4. So Gomez, a free swinger by trade, draws the walk. And a man on for Vogelsong to start this one tonight.
And down near the bottom are the Giants defensively. Brought to you by Menards tonight. Got Blanco, Pagan, and Pence in the outfield. Pablo Sandoval, he's got 1 error in his last 72 games. He's been outstanding. Brandon Crawford, one of the best in the business at shortstop. You got Panic and Morse from 3rd to 1st, and Buster Posey back behind home plate.
Dale Scott right behind Posey, calling the balls and strikes. Dan Isonia, Adam Hamari, and Quinn Wolcott are the base umpires. The home plate umpire is the crew chief tonight. And here is Scooter Gennett with Gomez at first, and Vogelsong hits the edge, a strike. A little bit of change in the Brewers lineup tonight. Typically Lucroy's been hitting second. Gennett back in that 2 spot this evening.
Renegade just trying to get something going. Kind of dead offensively in the last 2 games against the Padres. Of course, you got to tip your cap to the Padres starters. Trying to get something going.
Brewers let one get away on Wednesday. That's not the ideal circumstances to enjoy an off day. After a late rally by the Padres to tie it in the 9th and then to win it in the 10th. And the Brewers, who were 3 outs away from winning 2 out of 3 in that series, dropped 2 out of 3 and maintain their game-and-a-half lead as the Cardinals lost their last 2 games in their series with Pittsburgh. But the Pirates have creeped closer now, and it is a 3-horse race in this division at this point. And you figured it would be.
And it's going to come down to teams playing each other down the stretch in September. Brewers have a ton of games against the Central Division. That's the way you want it. You want to play the teams that you're fighting against to get to the postseason.
1 ball, 2 strikes. A check on Gomez. Gomez has been slowed a little bit lately. He's been dealing with a little tightness in his hamstring. He said no big deal, but he's been, in his words, short-stepping a little bit.
You lose it even 1 step. That makes a difference between safe and out on a stolen base.
He says he can air it out and run as fast as normal when he has to, but he's trying to limit those possibilities. We'll see if he's on the move here. He stays put. Jeanette slaps one foul and out of play. Gomez, Jeanette, and Braun to get us started here tonight. Scooter coming in, batting .307. He's currently outside the required number of plate appearances to qualify for a batting title. There goes Gomez, and Jeanette pops it up in the infield. Foul territory, Posey, and there is out number one.
And Vogelsong will throw that fastball up in the strike zone. He got that one a little bit by Scooter, and he popped it up. Yeah, Gomez recognizing where that baseball was in foul territory, able to get back. And Vogelsong threw the baseball extremely well against the Brewers his last time against Milwaukee. Picked up a 7-4 win against Giovanni Gallardo at Miller Park on August 6th.
And Vogelsong gave up that leadoff home run to Gomez. That was it. The rest of his day, 6 innings. The only win for the Giants in that series. The Brewers took 2 out of 3 from San Francisco at Miller Park a couple of weeks ago. Ryan Braun, 17 homers, 74 driven in. Coming in at a .277 batting average. Vogelsong's been a tough matchup for Ryan Braun throughout his career. Hitting for a low average. He has homered against Vogelsong. Giants are coming off a series win against the Rockies. They took 3 out of 4 from Colorado. Wrapped up their series yesterday at a day game here at AT Park. So the Giants, after losing the first game of that series of the Rockies, came back, won the last 3. They've won 6 of their last 9.
And starting to put things together. I mean, relatively healthy. They got a couple of guys on the concussion list. Brandon Belt in particular, one of the big left-handed bats. He's not in there.
Yeah, Belt and their backup catcher Hector Sanchez out with concussion. And Braun takes a strike inside corner, and out he goes. Braun disagrees. Dale Scott rings him up. And the Brewers have had a few run-ins with home plate umpires the last couple of nights. Renicky very critical of Wednesday night's balls and strikes situation in San Diego, and Dale Scott rings up Braun for the first strikeout for Vogelsong.
I'm not sure where Fox Tracks had it, but Ryan Braun certainly thought it was inside. Dale Scott did not think it was.
That'll be 2 outs now for Ramos Ramirez. The Brewers have the 2 top swing percentage leaders in the National League with Gomez and Ramirez. They swing early. The highest swing percentage on the first pitch. Gomez is 1. Ramos Ramirez is 2.
Well, when you have that kind of power, a lot of times your best pitch to hit is that first strike. Ramirez hit a first pitch home run in San Diego.
He has had a blistering month of August, trying to finish it off strong here in San Diego. He was saying before the game today during batting practice, this has been a tough place for him to hit. He feels it's cool. He likes it hot. The cool temperatures. The Giants typically have a very good pitching staff.
I was going to say that has a lot to do with it, facing guys like the Giants have on that starting rotation.
And night games here in San Francisco, the ball does not travel well. Although tonight there's a little bit of breeze blowing out and there's a little bit of humidity in the air. 66 degrees here in San Francisco.
Ball wasn't traveling all that well in batting practice today. Didn't seem like it anyway.
One of the most scenic setups in all of baseball and all of sports for that matter. 1-1 the count. Ramirez got jammed. That's just foul. He missed the bag by inches. Well, Gomez had a chance to score on that one, but it was just foul, and the count at 1-2 on Ramirez.
Yeah, Vogelsong again with 2 strikes, or I should say, trying to come inside. Same pitch that he was able to get Braun looking. Ramirez apparently looking in there, able to get the bat on it, but just hooked it foul.
Third base umpire Quinn Wolcott right on top of that one. One and two just underway from San Francisco. And there goes Gomez. Pitch out. Posey's throw is high. And Gomez with a stolen base. Well, the Giants sniffed it out, but Posey's throw was high and wide, and stolen base number 29 for Gomez.
Well, dropped his arm. He did everything right except make the throw. Actually, the pitch out wasn't all that great. He wasn't able to get his momentum. Talking about Posey towards second base. And that's why he dropped the arm and the ball sailed on him. So not a very good pitch out by Ryan Vogelsong.
Yeah, Posey standing there flat-footed. Pitch out, you want to be on the move.
Right, plus the throw was a little bit off the mark.
I'll see if Ramirez can pick up Gomez here with 2 outs. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Aramis. Trying to punch one into right field. He fouls it away. Ramirez has done a nice job this year with runners in scoring position. Only 2 better in the National League than Aramis, hitting for a .337 average. A lot of that work has come in the month of August. He's got a chance to win the player of the month in the National League in August. Has the highest batting average in the month. And Ramirez pops it up. That's panic back there. Will give way to Pence. And the side is retired. The Brewers strand a runner at second. Bottom of the first coming. Willie Peralta on the mound for the Crew tonight. Score in the first, strand a runner at second. And now the Giants coming up for the first time. Here is Bruce Bochy's batting order. It's brought to you by Associated Bank. You got Pagan, Panic, and Posey at the top. Pablo hitting cleanup. And then Pence hitting fifth. You get the idea with the P's, right?
Yeah, I get it.
Michael Morse, Gregor Blanco, Brandon Crawford, Ryan Vogelsong will round it out. Sandoval did a number on the Brewers at Miller Park, driving in 6 runs. Speaking of P's, the pitcher tonight, Willie Peralta, looking for win number 16, Rock.
Yeah, needs a bounce back. Got roughed up against the Pirates his last time out. That was at Miller Park. 15-8, outstanding year for Willie, and a .356 earned run average. That includes those 7 earned runs in 5 innings his last time out, making start number 4 career against the Giants. So far, he's 2-0. Well, let's check out the Brewers defense. Brought to you by Menards tonight. Got Parr back out in left field. Another left-handed bat in that lineup. Gomez and Braun in the outfield. Ramirez, Ilion Herrera, Jeanette and Overbay from third to first, and Johnson Lucroy behind home plate.
Now the lineup that Renicky unveiled in San Diego for the finale of that series. Peralta, a power sinking right-handed pitcher, but he does get a lot of ground ball outs. He's had his trouble against left-handed batters this year. One of the reasons Bochy has stacked as many lefties as possible. Pagan's a switch hitter who leads off, as is Sandoval, and then you got 3 more lefties in the lineup. So 5 of the 9 batting off the left side against Willie Peralta.
Yeah, big difference, isn't it? I mean, left-handers at a .305 clip with 14 homers. Left-handers neutralize that big slider for Willie. They like it down and in.
Giants are glad to get Pagan back. He's missed significant time this year, most recently with a calf injury. Set him down for a day, and then he was able to come back. He's not playing at 100%. Remember, he returned to the Giants from the disabled list when the Giants were in Milwaukee. That was his first games back from the DL.
He missed 44 games. Giants hung in there. Leadoff hitter, center field. He's got some speed. His 19th game since returning from the disabled list.
Pagan had a bad back. He brings a lot to the table in the leadoff spot for San Francisco, and has been a clutch postseason performer for him as well in that 2012 championship run. Now these two managers go way back, Bochy and Ron Renicky. Renicky actually managed in the Giants system when Bochy was in San Diego, but they have a lot of respect for one another.
Bochy in another playoff run. What's new for him, right?
Every other year it seems for the Giants. It's Pagan, shallow right center. Gomez got a late break, but he'll track it down for out number 1. Kind of had the old wet newspaper sound to it, that swing by Pagan.
Yeah, it seemed like it was a little bit out in front, not sure, but just didn't get the barrel of the bat on it. So Willie Peralta able to get his out on a 3-2 pitch. As we mentioned, Willie outstanding in his last start in the first 3 2/3, did not allow a hit, and then the bottom fell out. He just could not find an out, and the Giants would put 8 runs on him. He only threw 5 innings.
Here's Joe Panik. He's made a name for himself here in the big leagues this year. Giants were searching for a second baseman. He killed the Brewers in Milwaukee, had 6 hits in that series. And their search ended with Joe Panik. They brought him up from the minor leagues, and he's had a nice run, but he is playing with an injured finger. He actually dislocated his pinky a couple of weeks ago. No easy injury to bounce back from if you're a hitter. Did not have to go on the disabled list, and he remains in the lineup. A week ago Friday, Panik had 4 hits in a game against Washington. It was 4 for 5. And he's given them a lot, and Bochy is protecting him with this spot in the batting order, a lot like what Renicky does with Scooter Gennett. But you put him after Pagan in front of Buster Posey, that's a pretty sweet spot in the lineup.
Man, no doubt. You got to figure, you got to throw strikes to somebody, and in this lineup, at least at the top, it's Panik. He's the guy who's going to get some swings. You don't want to be pitching around Panik or walking him with Posey on deck. And then you've got Sandoval and Pence to deal with.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Panik. And he hits that one sharply through the hole, a base hit.
Yeah, That was the problem pitch for Willie as he got through that game against the Pirates. The slider, he hung that one up for Panic, and he's kind of serving it out there in the right field. You know, you have the dislocation. I guess if you're going to dislocate a finger, the little one is the most likely one you can dislocate and still stay in the lineup. Plus, he's not a real power hitter. You might lose some power when you have a situation like that, but he's a contact hitter and able to get the barrel of the bat on that hanging slider.
Puts the oven mitt on to protect that finger. And a man at first for Buster Posey. Well, like Braun, Posey not hitting for a high average this year. The numbers on the batting average side of things are down. Posey still a major threat. 18 homers, 68 runs batted in.
He's been much better on the road this year than at home. But starting to turn that around a little bit. Had a pretty good series against the Colorado Rockies.
And he's chasing one early on Peralta. Big fastball. Matter of fact, Posey's in our AT Uverse Rewind. This was Wednesday night. And a walk-off home run for Posey, sending the Giants to their second win in that series. They would win yesterday as well to win the final three in that set. That was Posey's 18th home run of the season. He shoots one to right, a base hit. And on his way to third goes Panic. And the Giants with runners at the corners, back-to-back singles to right.
They beat the shift that time. The Brewers had him played up the middle. Scooter was pretty much right over the bag, and check out where he hits it. And Posey in the right field, going with that pitch nicely. See the big shift. And because Panic has great speed, able to get into third base. And check it out, right in the back of that batter's box, and just lets the ball travel. Hits it perfectly off of that back leg and drives it into right field.
A classic right-handed swing, and a man who has won a batting title with that swing. Pretty balanced spray chart for Posey. Now the Giants threaten early against Peralta. Back-to-back hits, first and third for Pablo Sandoval. And that skips by Lucroy, and a run is in. Giants strike first tonight. Lucroy can't handle the pitch by Peralta. And it's 1-0. Posey advancing to second as well.
Lucroy setting up away. That's a fastball that bounces in front of home plate. Not much Lucroy can do about that. And the first run on the board.
That's one thing to block pitches when they are breaking balls. But when they're coming in at 97 miles an hour, forget it.
Yeah, you just don't have time to get down on the knees and block it.
And Sandoval back up the middle of the base hit. Posey's going to try to score. Here comes a throw from Gomez. It's up the line. Posey scores. Sandoval to second, and it's 2-0. And not the start Peralta and the Brewers are looking for tonight. 3 straight hits.
Getting a lot of the play with his pitches here in this first inning. Check it out. Look at the location of it. Up out over the plate, and that's a no-no to Sandoval. Any hitter, but he bangs it back through the middle. Gomez thinking he has a shot at Posey. Airmails the cutoff man. That allows Sandoval to get into second base.
2-0 Giants. And the high throw by Gomez takes Peralta out of a chance to turn a double play to get out of the inning. Brewers just have not been sharp fundamentally. They've not played well. They've not just committed errors, and they've had a few of those, but just the little things like that, overshooting a cutoff man.
Yep, throwing the wrong base, those types of things, they catch up to you.
Base running mistakes. Things you cannot do if you want to win a division.
Right.
And certainly things you can't do when you're on the road and you're dealing with a live wire crowd. Get that momentum going. We'll see if Peralta can turn the tables here with Hunter Pence at the plate.
Well, the one thing that's encouraging with Willie right now is all 3 of the hits have been on the ground. He's getting his ground balls, but the Giants are finding the holes.
And a big swing by Pence, and that caught a chunk of Jonathan Lucroy. Man, that has to hurt.
Right on the knee. I'm not sure where it got him, but a lot of times it gets right in between those, the pad, the shin guard and the pad that protects the thigh. No, that's not where he got it.
Ouch.
I was hoping that that's where it got him, but it didn't.
Oh, boy. Half the population knows exactly what he's going through right now.
I don't think it's that many. Unless half the population has caught.
Yeah. I tell you.
Yeah, that's the last thing you need. Get hit there.
Yeah, he's hurting back there. But when you're dealing with a catcher, everybody says just tough it out. Let's go.
Nobody even goes out. They're just laughing.
And a bouncing ball back up the middle. Base hit. Here comes Sandoval. He'll score. 3-0 Giants. 4 straight hits.
Well, 4 ground balls that have found the hole, right? Not much you can do about that. That one just out of the reach of Herrera. And Hunter Pence, with that big long stride, able to stay back and hit it right back through the middle. And I think because Herrera knocked it down a little bit, that allowed Sandoval to score. Sandoval doesn't run all that well. Herrera slows it down just enough to allow Sandoval to score on the base hit.
Now, there are some superlatives that matter and some don't, but it's interesting when you look at the Giants. When they score first, they are 52-15 this year. That's a remarkable stat.
Yeah.
When the opponent scores first, they've won just 19 games this season. It's the highest mark in the National League as far as a winning percentage when they score first. And they've got 3 on the board here tonight. And there goes Pence, and that ball hits Michael Morse. And this is turning into a mess for Willie Peralta in the first inning.
Well, location problems just like he had in that start against the Pirates. Getting a lot of the plate, a lot of pitches up in the strike zone. When he's at his best, he gets on top of his pitches, and this one not even close, gets Morris right on the leg. And this is the last thing the Brewers need is another short start.
Well, here is Gregor Blanco. 5 consecutive base runners for the Giants. 4 hits and a hit batter. First and second, 1 out. Peralta still a ground ball away from getting out of this inning. Ground balls have found the holes thus far.
But again, when he's at his best, he's getting on top of his pitches. Velocity's okay, but seems like pitches up in the strike zone. The problem that he had against the Pirates. He's got to be downstairs, although he is getting his ground balls, but they're finding holes tonight.
Blanco hitting 7th in the Giants lineup. 249 average coming into play tonight. He'll take his walks. He does get on base quite a bit. 323 on base percentage. Giants let a big lead get away in the National League West. Had a 9.5 game lead as late as June 7th. They cooled off. The Dodgers got hot. Giants open plated a 4.5 back of Los Angeles. Dodgers are playing in San Diego tonight as Peralta deals a strike. 2-2 the count on Blanco.
Awfully difficult to go wire to wire. That's what the Brewers are trying to do. Not many teams have ever done that.
I think the last team to do that would be the Chicago White Sox, I believe, if my memory serves. The 05 world champion White Sox.
Tough to do. It's tough to stay consistent all season long.
Well, the Padres lead the Dodgers 1-0 in the second tonight. The team behind the Brewers, the Cardinals, are down 6-2 to the Cubs tonight in St. Louis.
That's something. That Cubs played the Cardinals tough.
Bottom of the 8th inning there. Actually, they're going to the 9th in St. Louis. Cubs lead by 4. Pitch in the dirt. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Well, this is a swing moment early for Peralta. His pitch count is up there. He has only 1 out thus far. 3 runs are in. 2 men are on. Still time to settle in here and pitch a good ball game, but Peralta is going to have to make a pitch to Blanco. Brewers in desperate need of a ground ball double play. Full count. Let's keep an eye on the runners. They stay put, and a bouncing ball foul.
You see where he's leaving that slider. I mean, every one of them have been up in the strike zone. Not much movement at all on him. And that's when Willie's at his best. Of course, that's when every pitcher is at his best. When he gets one of his best pitches working for him. You can see where it ends up. Very hittable for Blanco, but he hit it foul.
And now Lucroy on his way out.
Sometimes you're back there trying to get a pitcher through a game, and you just don't know what to call. When you're not really confident in anything the guy's got at the given moment, it could turn around quickly. Right now they're just hunting strikes, something he can throw over the plate.
Peralta is basically a 2-pitch pitcher. Every now and then he'll throw a changeup to a lefty. See what he has in mind here. 3-2. 2 on, 1 away, and that one misses down and out, and the bases are loaded.
Well, at some point, Ron Rennie's got to be thinking about getting somebody up in the bullpen. You don't want to fall behind too far. I mean, it's one thing to keep a guy out there, protect your bullpen. It's another to completely give up the game this early. One base hit, it's going to be tough for these Brewers to come back.
There is no bullpen per se here in San Francisco. It's the end of the dugout. And they're starting to scurry around. Lee Tunnel on his way out. Looks like Marco Estrada will make his way to the bullpen mound. So 1 away with the bases loaded. It's Brandon Crawford back in the starting lineup. He's missed the last couple of days with an injured shoulder, right shoulder, which is his throwing arm. You have the pitcher coming up next. This is a key out for Willie Peralta if he's going to even survive this first inning. Bouncing ball, chance to turn it. Herrera to Jeanette, throw to first in time. Boy, Peralta needed that. The Giants score 3. But a huge double play to get him through that disaster. by Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. And by Marshfield Clinic. Don't just live, shine. Well, there's beautiful scenery, not so enjoyable after a 3-run first inning against Willie Peralta. Gets a 6-4-3 double play to get out of that first, and now we will see if the Brewers can fight their way back for a man who's been their ace this season.
A 28-pitch first inning. Could have been a lot worse.
All right, so Lucroy, who took a shot on a foul ball last inning, will lead off. Lucroy batting 5th in the lineup tonight. Lucroy, Parra, and Overbay will start it. Lucroy's batting average going under 300 for the first time in a long time. Lucroy threatening to win a batting title this season. But over the last month or so, he's cooled off at the plate.
Only one hit in that San Diego series.
2 years ago, Lucroy hit .320, but he missed a good chunk of the season. He missed 6 weeks of the season that year with a hand injury. Drives Allen down the right field line. Pence a long way to go at the wall. It's high off the wall. Takes a big bounce. And the National League leader in doubles, Jonathan Lucroy, adds one more to it. That's how you start an inning. Lucroy with an extra base hit here in the second.
Yep, got under a little bit, but he hit in the right spot. You hit it the right field to go off that wall out there. And you hit that same fly ball on the left. It's an easy out, but Lucroy goes right with it. We saw Posey do that well in the bottom of the first. And Lucroy able to get one high off of that wall out there and right. And start the Brewers' second inning off in a good fashion. Brewers had the firepower to come back, and don't think this one's over by any stretch.
Lucroy with 45 doubles now. Trying to become the first catcher in the modern era to lead his league in doubles as Gerardo Parra shoots one foul. Lucroy is now 5 doubles away from joining the franchise 50 double club. Only 2 players are in that club. They both are in the lineup tonight. Overbay, the franchise leader in doubles, and Aramis Ramirez. Parra back in the starting lineup tonight. Renicky trying to stack as many lefties as possible. And it was really the bottom of the order, starting with Parra in San Diego on Wednesday, that did the damage. It was Parra and Overbay and Elian Herrera. So Renicky lets it ride here tonight.
And Parra's got decent numbers against Vogelsong, a 300 hitter. Knows him well, playing most of his career, all of his career up until now in the Western Division. The familiarity with the pitching and the team itself. Tendencies of the hitters. One of the reasons why Parra has been getting some playing time on this road trip.
Parra has the most at-bats of any of the Brewers against Vogelsong, and a .304 hitter. He's walked 3 times. Has 23 at-bats against Vogelsong. Fouls that one off. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Gerardo.
Fastball, basically a 4-seamer, a cutter, a curveball, and a changeup for Ryan Vogelsong, veteran out there on the mound.
He's played in Japan, came up with the Pirates, made a name for himself here in San Francisco, 36 years of age. Actually, this is his age 37 season. 2-2 just outside. Full count to Parra after Lucroy's leadoff double. Down the left field line, foul.
Not much foul territory in this ballpark. Maybe the smallest foul territory in all of baseball. Behind home plate, down the lines, fans right on top of the field, but I don't see many foul outs here, although you've seen one already. Jeanette popped up in foul territory.
It's just a great ballpark, great setting. A lot of fun here in San Francisco usually. Parr on the ground, backhanded over there by Morse. Parr is out, but Lucroy advances. Giants are in search mode for a first baseman. They'll do it by committee over there. Posey playing a lot of first base. Morse gets the call tonight. Brandon Belt is going to be out at least until mid-September, and they're talking maybe even late September before Bochy's talented first baseman returns to the lineup after a concussion.
Well, Michael Morse certainly has the wingspan to play first base. Tough to throw one over his head.
So here is Overbay now with Lucroy at third. Overbay overall hitting .247, but he's made his mark as a pinch hitter. He's hitting .455 as a pinch hitter this year for the Brewers. This is a spot the Brewers need to cash in. Got to chip away with every opportunity here, down 3 runs early.
Man, look at the numbers for Lyle in these spots. A .383 batting average and a ground out will probably score a run. The Giants playing their infield back.
That's the best batting average among the Brewers with runners in scoring position. 1 ball, 1 strike. Takes it upstairs. Overbay's had a good road trip. And that run through San Diego, had 3 hits and 6 at-bats. Got the start on Wednesday. Bouncing ball up the middle. Crawford ranging over. And he'll make the play for the out, but the Brewers put a tally on the board in the second inning. So that'll be an RBI ground out for Overbay. And it is 3-1 Giants.
Stayed right on it. Vogelsong working him away. He didn't try and pull it. And got his ground ball and a run in. That's a big run to answer back after that Giants 3-run first.
So for Overbay, it's RBI number 32. That wipes the bases empty for Elian Herrera. Herrera making his 9th start at shortstop this year. He has started 6 different positions this season. He's made 25 starts overall, and the most coming at shortstop. But he's played second, he's played third. He got a start in center field. Got a few starts in right and left. Been a very versatile player.
Which is why he's on the ball club, his versatility. And he's starting to swing the bat a little bit.
1 ball, 1 strike. With a pop-up foul out of play.
Every team needs to have a guy like Herrera, a guy that can play just about everywhere. Only 5 players on the bench. Actually, the Giants only have 4 players on their bench. So when you don't have too many guys to call on late in the game, you have to have at least one that can play just about anywhere.
Well, here lately, Ron Renicky not thinking of Herrera as a utility player. He's thinking of him as a shortstop and a #1 option for now. Renicky saying he brings a lot of energy. He's been hitting. Had 3 hits in that San Diego series. 2 of them came on Wednesday, including an RBI triple that put the Brewers on the board. Big bouncer. Vogelsong gloves, throws, not in time. Infield hit. Elian Herrera keeps the inning alive. Second hit of the inning. Herrera chops one off the plate for a single.
And that's what you do. You know, you put the ball in play, you give yourself a chance, and that high chopper able to beat it out. Right off the plate, goes up in the air, and by the time Vogelsong gets there, a little bit too late. Herrera with pretty good speed down that line. And if nothing else, he clears the pitcher. Willie Peralta will get an at-bat and won't have to lead off the next inning.
Well, Peralta, not much of a batting average. Brewers are always hopeful he'll run into one. He has as much power as any pitcher the Brewers have. Matter of fact, he's got as much power as most of the position players. But he hasn't brought that to the game. I mean, at 4:30, he's legit.
We all were at 4:30.
I was legit today at 4:30, as a matter of fact.
Hey, I could hit at 4:30.
Well, maybe he'll catch a mistake here. Every time I see a pitcher at the plate here in this ballpark, I think about Giovanni Gallardo, who homered off Randy Johnson.
Yep, right down the line and left.
The only home run Randy Johnson allowed to a pitcher in his career came right here at AT Park. I believe that was 2010. Not this time for Willie. Strikes out, inning over. Pitcher spot cleared. Top of the order will come up in the third, and the Brewers get a run on the board. On 4 hits, a hit batter and a walk. Peralta got a double play to get out of that mess. And then the Brewers answer with a run in the second inning. Our farmland what's cooking. Willie Peralta with 15 wins, trying to join Clayton Kershaw in the 16-win club. Since June 5th, Willie Peralta has won 11 of those 15 games. Only Kershaw has won more since June 5th. Kershaw has won 12 of his 16 since that time. Peralta since June 5th, Rock, is 11-3.
He's been unbelievable except for his last 2 starts. Very unusual for Willie. You saw Bumgarner there. The Brewers are going to face him on Sunday.
That's what it looks like since June 5th. You got Cueto and Matt Shoemaker of the Angels on that list. Shoemaker's on the mound tonight for the Angels. That's a big one between the Angels and the A's. The Angels are up 2 games in that American League West right now. That'll be fun to follow. Pennant race fever is cranking up as we approach September. Ryan Vogelsong, the Giants pitcher. And he's worked it into a 2-2 count. That was what was so important about the double play, that Peralta gets, not only does it stop the bleeding for the moment, but it also allows him to face the pitcher to start the inning. And you're hoping that's an out, but Peralta is all over the map right now, and it's 3-2 on Vogelsong. It's a scary proposition coming in there at 97 miles an hour.
Yeah, pitcher trying to bail out of there, and it's just a mechanical issue. That's what that is. Iron out those mechanics. He really hasn't had those issues all that often this year. He has been so consistent. Really hasn't gone into any prolonged stretches where he hasn't been able to pick up wins.
3-2 to Vogelsong, and he fouls another one away. So with a 28 pitch first inning, Peralta having a tough time shaking the opposing pitcher. This will be an 8 pitch at bat. Willie had his career best strikeout night against the Giants. 9 Ks against him at Miller Park on August 7th. 3-2. And a line drive to right. Base hit. Down into the corner. Braun able to cut it off, and that's going to hold Vogelsong to a single.
It wasn't that bad for Ryan Vogelsong. Able to line one down that line in right. Just one of those starts for Willie Peralta. It's a pretty good approach right there. Pitch out away from him, and he goes right with it. Of course, you don't expect him to pull Willie Peralta thrown in the mid-90s.
Well, the other starters enjoying that. Vogelsong hitting just a little over 100. And he doubles down, or singles, I beg your pardon, down the right field line. Top of the order now. So the Giants, first time through the batting order with 5 hits, a walk, and a hit batter. Pagan, a defensive swing for strike one. That was one of the better breaking balls Peralta has thrown.
Yeah, Pagan in swing mode, wasn't he?
Fastball swing mode, it looked like.
Right. You don't have to throw a perfect breaking pitch. You throw it first pitch, and now he's got the count in his favor.
Peralta retired Pagan last inning. That was the first batter he faced on a fly ball out to center. That was a defensive swing as well. Next 6 batters reached base before Willie got the double play. You can tell Peralta's just in search mode, and it better happen quickly for him. The Giants are sitting on the fastball right now. You can just see by the swings of Pagan.
He just doesn't have his slider. I mean, that was the problem that he had against the Pirates as the game went on. And when he doesn't have the slider, hitters are just all over the fastball.
Got to keep digging. 1-2. Fastball drilled center field. Gomez, long run. Carlos can't make the play, and it bounces out. No, it's off the top of the wall. Vogelsong will end up at third. I thought that bounced out, but it did not. And on a 2-strike pitch, Angel Pagan doubles.
He went down and got that one. It looked like it was a little bit out in front, but able to keep his hands back. And Carlos trying to get back there, just couldn't. And the Brewers fortunate that Vogelsong is on first, or he would have scored. The ball stays in play, saving a run for Willie for the time being, but it's second and third and nobody out.
Well, the Giants are hitting Peralta hard tonight.
And that was a 98-mile-an-hour fastball down in the strike zone that Pagan hit into center field.
6 hits already for the Giants. Second and third, nobody out. Joe Panic, the batter.
And Marco Estrada not very long from getting loose again, or at least going down there. This is a rough one for Willie Peralta.
This reminds me of the game he had against the Phillies, giving up a season-high 9 earned runs. That was really he's had 2 blow-up games this year. His last one against the Pirates, and that game against the Phillies back in early July. But the game against the Pirates, his last time out, he dominated Pittsburgh through the first 3 1/3, and then everything just fell apart for him.
Yeah. Well, lost his location, lost his breaking pitch. And it happened very quickly.
2 balls, no strikes on Panic.
The Pirates scored 8 runs in an inning in the third. He went 3 2/3 hitless. And looked like he was going to have one of those starts and just lost it.
And the Pirates ended up with 7 hits in an inning and a third, basically. 7 hits in a 4-out span for Peralta. And it feels a lot like that here tonight. 2 balls and a strike on Panic. And a little shot to Jeanette. He makes the catch. A little soft liner, Jeanette, who was playing in. A backhanded stab for out number 1.
And Brewers fortunate that baseball wasn't hit a little bit higher. That's why you don't really bring your infield in, or at least halfway. The Brewers had him in halfway because you don't have very good speed or instincts at third base. So you figure you play halfway, and it was good that they did. Had he been in, that would have been a base hit. Would have scored 2 runs.
Well, that's a huge break for now. Now Buster Posey, 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. And if the slider is to be found for Willie Peralta, now would be a good time. Because Posey sitting on a fastball is a scary proposition for Willie Peralta. Hits the fastball about as well as anyone in the league.
There's a slider but misses down.
Well, you wonder if you would walk him here. I know it's only in the 2nd inning. But you're down 2-0. A base hit will make it 5-1.
Problem is you have the switch hitter Sandoval coming up.
2 balls, no strikes. Oh, he let a fastball go by. 97.
Right on that inside corner. That was a good pitch. Posey looking for something out away from. He hit a fastball away into right field his last time up.
Sandoval waiting to hit next. Single and a double in this inning against Peralta. And a bouncing ball through. Base hit. Coming in, Vogelsong. Pagan will stop. Now respecting the throwing arm of Gerardo Parra. And sensing a big inning perhaps. Buster Posey with an RBI single.
And Posey with a 2-1 count. That ball got down on the trademark a little bit, but he hit in a good spot. And Herrera tried to knock it down. The run probably would have scored anyway, but Posey has to stop at third base, respecting the throwing arm of Gerardo Parra. And this is an interesting way to stop. Around third base, he sees the coach. Now, if the coach touches the base runner, the runner's out. And that didn't miss him by much.
So here's Sandoval with runners at 1st and 3rd. And again, Peralta desperate for a ground ball double play here. This is not going to be a start that lasts long regardless for Peralta. He's already at 50 pitches with 1 out in the 2nd inning. Sandoval drove in a run with a single up the middle in the 1st. 4-1 Giants. In the air, foul territory, long run. Herrera will watch it bounce.
Well, Sandoval's grounded into 12 double plays this year. So you get one down and away, try to get the ground ball and get out of here. It'll be a small victory for Willie to get out of here with just 1 run on the board this inning.
Sandoval had a hit yesterday in the finale of that series against the Rockies. Had a couple of walks in yesterday's game. Been a slow homestand for him. Just 3 hits thus far. Now 4 hits with the RBI single. His last time up. But he's been overall a hot hitter regardless of a poor series against the Rockies. Gives you an idea where he was before that series, but even over his last 9 games, Sandoval hitting .380. Prior to that Colorado series, he was up into the 450s. Now when he's in a hot streak, he's a very tough out.
Yeah, he makes a lot of contact, doesn't walk much, doesn't strike out a whole lot, puts the ball in play.
1-2 pitch. Sandoval doesn't chase the fastball. You could tell Peralta trying to get him to bite on that high fastball. Sandoval does swing at pitches out of the strike zone. He's not afraid to go out of the zone to try to drive in a run. But that was too high.
Yeah, a little bit too high, right.
2-2. It was late, but he got a piece. 99-mile-an-hour fastball from Peralta. He has given everything he's got right now just to survive these early innings.
You get about 3 or 4 of those in you each start, and that was a good time to throw one. 99 miles an hour.
Another 2-2 on the way. And he got him. Struck him out. Outside edge. And Sandoval chases one. Second out of the inning. The first strikeout for Peralta.
That was a beauty. Right on the outside corner. Maybe a little bit off. Too close to take, and Sandoval just waves at it. That's a nice pitch. That might have been his best pitch of the night right there.
So 2 men are out, still at the corners now. You see Estrada loosening in the bullpen for the second consecutive inning. It's only so many times you can warm up in a game before you have to come in.
No, he didn't go too far his first time. He had just started to toss when Willie got that double play ball.
So here is Hunter Pence now with 2 away. Fastball strike. Pence with an RBI single back up the middle in the first. Now with 60 runs batted in. Posey's their best run producer. Pence is the only other Giant with 60 ribbies. That was a defensive swing, and now it's 0-2.
That big fastball, all of a sudden getting some pretty good movement on it. Busting Pence on his hands that time.
Pence second in the league in hits. He's going to overtake Murphy soon, who is injured. Going to be out for a while with the Mets. No balls, 2 strikes. Tried the slider. Good block by Lucroy. High anxiety pitches for Peralta. A lot in the first 2 innings. The 1-2 and a bouncer off the glove of Peralta. And Pence will reach. Everybody's safe, and another run is in. That was going to be a routine ground ball to Jeanette, but Peralta, acting on instinct, couldn't get it in his glove, and another run scores. It is now 5-1 Giants.
Yeah, when you see a ball coming back to you like that, your instinct is to throw the glove up there. And probably should have had it, but off the thumb of the glove, and Herrera not able to make a play at first base. So all the breaks going the way of the Giants so far.
And the Giants now have 8 hits. Pence with 2 and 2 runs batted in. Here's Michael Morse. We are a little over an hour into this game, and we're in the bottom of the second. It has been a rough outing for Peralta. In the air to right, Braun playing deep right there, and that will retire the side. 5-1, Peralta having a tough start tonight in the Bay. Tough night for Willie Peralta thus far. Well, this week college football continues with a full slate of games. North Dakota State takes on Iowa State on FS1, and then Fresno State looks to upset 15th ranked USC on Fox. Action continues Sunday. SMU against Baylor. Coverage begins Saturday on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Opening up a brand new stadium there in Waco.
Here we go, football season.
Yeah.
Hard to believe.
Wishing my old high school coach, Art Briles, the best of luck at Baylor University this year. Boy, he has done a great job down there in Waco. They've turned that into a powerhouse. They're opening up a new stadium. Happy for him.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the team that he coached when I was around couldn't provide that much success. Carlos Gomez leads off. Foul pop, and that'll end up in the Brewers bullpen. Did you play football in high school, Rock?
I did.
What position?
Defensive end.
All right, I could see that.
I was a tight end. See, back in New Jersey, we weren't very good in small high school. Played both ways.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Offense, defense. I was a snapper for the punt team because I was the only guy that could do it. I kicked off. The only team that I wasn't on special teams was the punt return team, and we were so bad that the other team didn't punt all that often.
Yeah, so you didn't need it.
Yeah, I still didn't. I still was on the field.
Well, I was a deep snapper as well, but I also returned punts, which is a rare combo.
Right.
And I always thought it was kind of cool that Art Briles let me return punts. Then I realized about halfway through the season why. Because we rushed 10. We tried to block every punt.
And you were all there by yourself.
I'm standing back there by myself, hand up.
They were in the dog pile on you.
Fair catch. Fly ball to shallow right center. Pence will run it down. Gomez is retired.
Hey, it's the Brewers and Cardinals this Thursday, September 4th through Sunday the 7th. As they hook up in a 4-game series at Miller Park. To secure tickets, visit Brewers.com today. You know, the Cubs beat the Cardinals tonight.
Yeah, final of 7-2. It was the return of Yadier Molina. He's been out with thumb injury, had thumb surgery, torn ligaments in the thumb. He was 0 for 3 tonight. A couple of strikeouts. That kid Kyle Hendricks did a number on the Cardinals. We saw him.
Yeah, he looked good against the Brewers.
Yeah, in Chicago, and came over from the Rangers organization. He went 6 innings and only 2 earned runs tonight against St. Louis. Cubs win. Well, the Brewers have had a lot of opportunities the last few nights to add some distance between themselves and the Cardinals, but they have not been able to do it. They dropped the final 2 games in San Diego, and they're down 5-1 here to the Giants.
And look a little bit deeper. Check out those Pirates. They won again.
Now Pittsburgh beat the Reds tonight 2-1.
They're right back in it.
Pirates are hot. Pittsburgh playing at home tonight, and they scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th to come back and beat the Cincinnati Reds.
Brewers lose tonight. Pittsburgh's 3 back.
Jeanette rolls 1 to second. Panic makes a play for out number 2. Well, every game's important, no question. That old cliche, it's a cliche because it's true. But when the Brewers get home and start the next homestand, which is going to be on the 4th of September, next Thursday, that starts a run against contending teams in the Central Division. The Cardinals, a 4-game series, and still 7 games remaining against St. Louis. They still have 3 against the Pirates. Braun on the first pitch, and a scoreless 3rd inning. 1-2-3. The Brewers go quietly. Shot from McCovey Cove. Under the lights here. Willie Peralta's back out on the mound to start his 3rd inning. Carsoup.com trivia question. The last Brewers pitcher to win his 16th game of the season before September. Something Peralta's trying to do tonight. He's going to need some help offensively to turn that trick.
Can I take a shot at it?
Sure, go ahead.
Right now or later?
No, go ahead. Love to hear from you.
Teddy Higuera, when he won 20 games,
All
was
right.
that 90 or 86, 85, 6?
That's a good guess. Maybe correct, maybe not.
Chris Capuano.
Capuano was an 18-game winner. Another good guess.
Do you know the answer?
I don't. Well, I do, but I don't want to say it.
They just told you?
Everybody knows that, right? Gregor Blanco leads all 4 of the Giants. He walked his last time up. Peralta trying to restore order. Bottom of the Giants batting order coming up. Marco Estrada has warmed up in each of the first 2 innings. Giants have 5 runs on 8 hits. This is the middle leg of the road trip. The Brewers go to Chicago next for a 3-game series. You should come see us in Chicago. Got a Labor Day game at Wrigley on the 1st on Monday. Tuesday and Wednesday are night games. They'd love to have Brewers fans represented at Wrigley Field. Expecting big crowds over the weekend against the Cardinals. Brewers have a nice long homestand once they conclude this road trip. 4 against St. Louis, 4 against Miami, and then 3 against the Reds. 11 games for the homestand. And then the Brewers will embark on their last road trip of the year. St. Louis, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati. And they close the season against the Cubs.
Yep, winding down.
Hard to believe. And Blanco walks. Second time Peralta has walked him. The Giants have the lead base runner on in each of their first 3 innings. Give me some of the images from the Cubs win.
Also important.
And Soler goes deep. Remember, he homered in his first Major League at bat. Jorge Soler with a bomb.
That's a pretty quick bat right there. Pat Neshek gave it up.
3 hits, a home run, 3 runs batted in for Jorge Soler, one of the top prospects in the minor leagues. Cubs are loaded with prospects, and we're seeing them all this season.
Yep, young, hungry players trying to make their mark. A very tough opponent. You know, when you're going in there, you're in a pennant race. They have nothing to lose.
So there's a kid who broke his leg. He's missed a lot of time this year, but he is in the big leagues now, and he is doing some damage.
I guess by watching that video, you don't want to throw him inside. He's got a quick bat.
Yeah, he does.
That's an amazingly quick bat on the inside corner.
The Cubs are just rolling with prospects right now that are finally surfacing in the major leagues, and that's why they're a tough matchup. Runner takes off. Lucroy picks it. Throw to second is Leak. So a stolen base for Blanco as the Giants keep the pressure on. 14th stolen base for Gregor Blanco.
Yep, getting out of that double play possibility. Lucroy, a tough pitch to throw on. That pitch actually bounced. He catches it in the glove, but a little bit off the mark. And Herrera takes the throw up in front of second base. Look how far in front of the bag he is. Not going to get too many guys at second base when you're up that far.
Crawford in a 2-0 count swings and lifts one in the air to left. Parra will run it down. Tagging it second on his way to third is Blanco. He'll make it. So Crawford flies out, but he advances a runner to third. And the Giants threaten to score again. Got to bring up the pitcher, Vogelsong. By the way, I was just looking at the box score of that game, the Cubs-Cardinals game. Vogelsong, a bouncer to third. Ramirez gobbles it up. And there is out number 2. Nice play by Aramis. So that keeps a runner at third. Now 2 men are out. Soler hit 2 home runs in that game. That was the second that we saw. They got home runs from Valbuena, Soler, Alcantara homered. But 4 home runs in the game against the Cardinals tonight, did the Cubs. Shelby Miller got roughed up tonight for St. Louis. Well, actually gave up 2 runs. Neshek got roughed up. 4 earned runs in 2/3 of an inning. Miller actually pitched fairly well.
Cardinals actually had a 2-0 lead. They scored 2 in the first. Cubs came roaring back.
Top of the order, and Angel Pagan with a runner at third and 2 outs. Pagan had a double last inning, scored a run. He banged one over the head of Gomez, which is not easy to do. That came on a 1-2 pitch.
And 98 miles an hour down around his knees and just golfed it over his head.
Willie trying to post his first scoreless inning of the night. And it's not going to happen. Pagan, a base hit. Another run is in. 6-1 San Francisco.
It was either a changeup or a slider that just spun up there. And Pagan got a pitch that Willie left up in the strike zone and just serves it out into left field. Nice piece of hitting. Let's see what the pitch is. Changeup. Yep, changeup going away from. Just a good piece of hitting by Angel Pagan to serve it out into left field. Well, a pitch up in the strike zone, and it cost him a run.
And the beat keeps on for the Giants. Pagan has 2 hits. The Giants have 9 hits. We're in the 3rd inning. Joe Panik singled to right in the first. He lined out to second last inning. Giants brought 8 men to the plate in the first inning. 7 batters hit last inning. 6 runs on 9 hits. Peralta's hit a batter. 2 walks in the game already.
All singles except one. Giants 5 for 11 with runners in scoring position so far tonight, and we're in the 3rd inning.
Runner takes off. Panik, a bouncing ball to Jeanette. And that will retire the side. It's a 2-out hit from Angel Pagan. Peralta having a rough night at the office tonight in San Francisco. pass for this time of night. It's a violation. Giants lead 6-1. This has been a rough one. Brewers coming off a gut-wrenching loss on Wednesday night. And Willie Peralta having one of his worst starts of the season here tonight. He's given up 6 runs. Brewers did get a run in the second inning. And the middle of the order coming up: Aramis Ramirez, Jonathan Lucroy, Gerardo Parra against Vogelsong. Shattered bat, ground ball out to Crawford. Out number 1. Well, Jonathan Lucroy has been the lone bright spot of the night. Had a double to start the second inning. Our Southwest Airlines non-stoppable play as Lucroy hit one over the head of Pence off the right field wall. Leads the league in doubles.
And then the Brewers able to execute. Parra got him over. Overbay got him in. And the Brewers lone tally. The result of a leadoff double by Lucroy.
That's where he sits. 45 doubles for Lucroy. There's a strike. I like Buster Posey here with the Giants. Lucroy's been playing a little first base this year. Matter of fact, he's made 11 starts at first. He said before the game he's starting to feel more comfortable there. He's physically playing first base. Helps him recover. He feels a lot stronger when he plays when he's at first base, not the wear and tear behind the plate. But he said the first few starts he had, the emotional wear and tear it had, wondering if he's in the right place.
Yeah.
Trying to make sure he's in the right spot for cutoffs. There's a drive to right. Pence will fetch this one though for the out. And 2 up and 2 down here for Vogelsong.
Well, tonight's time of the game winner. Aces on 29th in Superior. If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a 2014 Brewers home game. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
And it just happens to be the 29th today.
Aces on 29th. My daughter Lindsay's birthday today.
Oh, is that right? Happy birthday, Lindsay.
Yeah. Doesn't
she live up here in the Bay Area?
Sacramento.
All right, Sacramento. I remember seeing her at this ballpark.
So happy birthday, Liz, if you're watching. They've got the package. MLB package, checking us out. 31 years old. I'm getting old, buddy.
Wow. You are.
Yep. I know.
She's not. You are.
I know.
Grandpa Schroeder. You got a name yet? Your granddaughter? Has she developed any kind of... What's she going with?
Papa.
Papa.
Papa
Schroeder.
And Nana is Kate.
Okay. That works.
It's easy for him.
Yeah. Peepaw didn't catch, huh?
No, I didn't.
I was kind of hoping that would. Every time I saw little Madeline, I was trying to throw that in there, but she was a little too young to make it stick.
No, I told her not to listen to you.
Peepaw.
He knows better.
Two outs for Gerardo Parra. Bounced out his first time up. Takes a ball high. How'd you enjoy your off day yesterday?
Nice. Sausalito.
Oh, is that right?
Went over there, took the ferry around Alcatraz and into Sausalito, and had a nice time.
There's a called strike 3. Parra's rung up. Not happy. And a 1-2-3 inning. Vogelsong has retired 7 in a row. And it's been all Giants tonight.
Giants 6-1 as promised. Matt Garza, after a good bullpen session in San Diego on Tuesday, pitched in a simulated game here at AT Park earlier today. He pitched 3 innings through a combined 47 pitches. And he said that he was able to throw every pitch. He felt great about everything, and now he'll have a bullpen session on Sunday. But Ron Renicky said before today's game that he'll make a decision on where Matt Garza will be slotted back into the rotation. So it was good news. He said he felt great. He actually was a little nervous, he said, because he was facing live hitters. And he said he felt great just because he was facing his teammates, guys that know him and know him well, and he said he was still able to throw well. So good news on the Matt Garza front, B.A.
All right, thank you, Telly. That is good news. He'll be entering back into the rotation soon. You see Marco Estrada's in the game now. Peralta's done after 3 innings. A rough one tonight for Willie. 3 innings, 6 earned runs tonight. And Estrada will take over, facing Buster Posey to start it.
Yeah, last 11 appearances for Marco have been out of the bullpen. He's been very good. A 320 earned run average in those 11 appearances. Last pitched on Tuesday against the Padres and tossed 2 scoreless innings.
Posey with 2 hits tonight, drove in a run his last time up. Fouls that one off. Count remains at 0-2.
Yeah, really just couldn't locate any one of his pitches. I mean, he even tried some change-ups, left those up in the zone. So back-to-back starts, not very good for Willie Peralta. First time that he's experienced back-to-back poor starts this year. And one of the few times he struggled after a Brewers loss this year.
Yeah, he's been the guy that has ended those loss or losing streaks. But not his night tonight. And the Brewers going to have to regroup. They're down 6-1. Estrada hoping to give Renicky a few innings here. Posey swings and pops it up, foul territory, long run. Actually, the wind taking that closer to fair territory, and it drops safely. Yeah, there's some wind coming across, blowing out towards left.
Yeah, left center.
Made it closer than I thought it'd be. 2-2 the count on Posey. Well, the Brewers are going to be glad to get Garza back in the rotation. It is going to mean somebody goes out of the rotation. Renicky didn't want to announce when Garza is going to pitch next. I think he knows when he wants him to pitch, but he wants to make sure he comes out of this start today. You even heard Garza mention it. He said, we'll see how my body feels tomorrow. So after he did all the work today, and then you got to remember he was out with an oblique injury. Posey breaks his bat, and it's off the elbow of Herrera, and Buster Posey has 3 hits tonight.
Yeah, 3 hits in 4 innings. Well, everything the Giants are touching has ended up as base hits. Pretty good pitch by Estrada. It was a changeup. Posey way out in front, but still able to keep the bat in the hitting zone long enough to just kind of figure out a way to get it out of the reach of Elian Herrera. He knocked it down, but even if he keeps it in the glove, there's no chance of getting Posey at first.
Here's Sandoval now. Giants have had their leadoff batter reach base in the last 3 innings. They've had plenty of base runners. Getting back to Garza, though, you figure, as Telly mentioned, so he's got a simulated game today, which means his between start session on Sunday. So if you just do the math, that puts him up Tuesday if they stick to a schedule. I'm just guessing here, but that would put him up Tuesday. Typically, you'd make a start, you get a day off, then you have a side session, you get a day off, and then you pitch.
Yeah, you figure it's going to be sometime against the Cubs, but you don't know when. But tomorrow's every bit as important as today was. to see how he responds. He throws, he sits down in a simulated game, he gets back up, he does it again, and if everything goes well and he has no issues like he did after his first side session, you might see him pitch somewhere in that Chicago Cubs series.
So you got Fiers tomorrow. Loesch will go on Sunday here in San Francisco, and then Gallardo set for the Monday game. And Renicky saying most likely the Brewers are going to stick with a 6-man rotation for the short term as they re-enter Garza into the rotation. So everybody will get an extra day's rest, and then once the Brewers get home, they'll be making a decision on who's coming out. Rosters expand on September 1st, so you don't have to send anybody to the minor leagues.
And plus, if Garza has any problems, you're going to have some extra arms in the bullpen to be able to eat up those innings. Rosters expand to 40 if you want.
Brewers will have a handful of call-ups. They didn't name names, but they're not going to go all the way to 40. They won't have 15 guys coming here from the minor leagues. Two balls, 2 strikes on Sandoval. Singled in a run, scored a run in the first. Peralta struck him out in the second. Willie's lone strikeout. And another swing and a miss. So Sandoval strikes out for the second time. First K for Estrada, 1 gone here in the 4th inning.
Yeah, same location as the one that Willie got him, but about 7 miles an hour slower. Looks like Sandoval trying to pull it, and Estrada able to catch the outside corner.
Hunter Pence, 2 hits, 2 runs batted in. Had an infield hit his last time up. Pence was headed to the free agent market after last season, but he signed a deal late, a September contract extension, which is rare. Pence making the point he's moved enough. You know, that stretch there when he got into arbitration eligible territory, when he started making some big dollars, he went from the Astros to the Phillies, then the Phillies flipped him to the Giants. But he loves it here in San Francisco. Won a World Series with the Giants. He was a big part of that 2012 World Championship Ball Club. The inspirational leader. Remember that year he was running all of those college football rah-rah type speeches before every game. Bochy thought it was hilarious. And it broke the tension when the Giants had their backs up against the wall in the division series against the Reds. And then they won a game, and Pence did it again, and then they won another game, and he did it again before the game, had this big speech, and every time he'd come up with all these new sayings and win one for the Gipper speeches. There was some pretty foul language involved in there as well, and all behind closed doors, of course.
Right. Yeah.
And they kept winning.
Weren't a whole lot of golly gees in there.
No, there wasn't a gee whiz situation there, but it was a lot of fun for the Giants. They had a good time with it.
Well, he's very reliable. He's played now in 356 consecutive games.
Goes about it as about as unorthodox as there is, but he's been very successful. Runner goes, bouncer right to Herrera, who bobbles it and throws not in time. Not a whole lot to say about this night tonight.
I think Herrera was trying to be a little bit too quick to turn a double play because Posey was running on the pitch. And I think what he was doing was he knew that Posey was on the move, and he had to be very quick right up the heel of the glove through his legs and wasn't able to get anybody. Pence runs well down the line. And that'll be an E6.
And good call at first on a close play. So 2 on with 1 out. And here's Michael Morse. Better days are coming, folks. Just hang in there. Peaks and valleys of the season. It happens.
Everybody goes through them.
The Pirates, one of the hottest teams in the league right now, they lost 7 straight. Couldn't do anything right. The key is to get hot when it counts. Not that it doesn't count now, but you've got to win against your division opponents. Brewers have got to take care of business against the Cardinals and the Pirates.
Yeah, but including tonight, you got 6 games before you have to deal with the contenders, and you don't win those, you look ahead a little bit too much. Not to say the Brewers are doing that, they're not, but can't forget about these games.
Now momentum starts on the mound, and with each loss, the next day's pitcher feels the burden of trying to turn the fortunes around. Peralta could not do that tonight. He did not have a good night. Had no feel for the slider tonight, and that really hurt him. Giants are sitting up there hunting fastballs, and they got plenty of them to hit.
And he didn't throw too many good fastballs either. A lot of them straight up in the zone. And the Giants able to take advantage of it. It happens.
And Morse walks. So the bases are loaded. And Rick Kranitz is on his way out.
And with that, let's talk about Robin Yount. It's Robin Yount bobblehead day on Sunday, September 14th. The Brewers host the Reds, and all fans at Miller Park will get a bobblehead of the Brewers' all-time hits leader and just about every other thing. That's the kid, courtesy of Robert Hack Diamonds. Call 414-902-4000 or go to Brewers.com for tickets. Everything's better when you talk about Robin Yount.
Yeah, he's the salve for the wound. Makes everything better. Say hello to the kid, Robin Yount. He's tracking this ball club, you can bet. Here's Gregor Blanco with the bases loaded and 1 out. He has walked twice. The Giants have had 15 batters reach base tonight. We're only in the 4th inning with 1 out. 15 of the 24 batters have reached base in this game. Ouch.
Yeah.
10 hits, 6 runs in. And they're threatening once again in the 4th.
And Marco having a difficult time getting his changeup over. And that's never a good sign for Marco. He needs that pitch.
Two balls and a strike. Blanco has been very patient tonight. A swing and a miss. A changeup from Estrada. 2-2 it goes.
Got that one up in the strike zone. Blanco with a big swing.
Brandon Crawford will hit next. He didn't bite on that one. An action pitch coming for Marco Estrada. He's throwing a lot. He started this inning. This will be number 29 of the inning. Full count. Count remains 3-2. Giants fans are hungry for more. San Francisco trying to put together their longest winning streak at 4 in a row since the first half. They had a 5-game winning streak. Matter of fact, that 5-game winning streak helped Bochy's club go up 9.5 games in the division. Dodgers are in San Diego tonight. The Padres lead the Dodgers 2-1. As we've seen, it's a tough place to play. And a bases loaded walk. Another run is in.
I'm not sure why the Brewers are being so careful with Gregor Blanco, but they are. 3 walks. This one drives in a run.
We are moving in the direction of a position player pitching tonight. The way this is going.
Yeah, it's got to be tough on Marco when you think about it. Every time he pitches, or at least just about every time, the Brewers are down. And it's a short start, and things aren't going very well. That's just kind of the job he has right now. But for the most part, he's been able to keep himself very focused and able to get the job done. It's got to be difficult when you're just about every time you're coming in and your team's down 5-6 runs.
Brandon Crawford with the bases loaded and 1 out. 2 walks, an error, and a single in this inning. Giants have scored in every inning. Might be an opportunity for Renicky to get Lucroy out of the game tonight.
Well, the Giants still have not been able to provide that knockout punch on the Brewers. They've had ample opportunities. They're up by 6. And Marco gets out of this one. This one's not over quite yet. The Brewers have some firepower. They can come back. But you're right, a base hit here, and it's going to be very difficult.
1-2, a changeup. A lot of pitches for Estrada. Number 34 of the inning is bounce foul. And Crawford rolls over one. Overbay to second for 1. Return throw, not in time. Another run will score, and Estrada a little shaken up.
I think that baseball handcuffed him a little bit. Not sure if he kind of turned an ankle trying to cover the bag and catch the baseball. But Herrera giving it an effort. Marco was there, but Estrada not able to handle the throw. You see, I think it got him on the heel of the glove. Crawford gets down that line pretty well. Left-handed hitter.
So Crawford with an RBI on a fielder's choice. 2 runs are in this 4th inning. It is 8-1 Giants. And here is Vogelsong, who's 1 out of 2 tonight. Got a lot of West Coast games tonight. A good matchup in Seattle, interleague baseball this evening. Mariners and the Nationals. Washington leads at 5-2. They have 5 runs on Felix Hernandez tonight. That's big news. Say the Mariners have been in the news a little bit. They skipped Hernandez in the rotation. They bumped him back a day so he could pitch against the Nationals tonight. Their starter yesterday got roughed up.
Sometimes it doesn't pay to do that, does it?
Right off the end of the bat, Estrada will make the play, and that will retire the side. It's a bloodbath in San Francisco tonight. They have 8 runs on the board on 10 hits. We go to the 5th. By Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. By the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. And by Miller Lite, now in the original can, it's Miller time. What a shot there, huh? The Golden Gate Bridge. San Francisco, one of the most picturesque locations on the planet. And AT&T Park. Has not been a fun night for the Brew Crew tonight. They're down 8-1, and we go to the 5th inning. While the Giants have scored in every inning, the Brewers have been retired in order the last 2 innings, and Vogelsong has retired 7 in a row, 9 of his last 10. Other than that, what'd you think of the play, Mrs. Lincoln?
It's been a rough start to this one, hasn't it?
It's a bouncer, and it bounces over the head of Morse. A base hit for Overbay jumping on the first pitch.
Well, let's see if the Brewers can turn things around here, start getting something going, put some pressure on Vogelsong. When you look at Vogelsong, I mean, he is 0-5 in his last 7 home starts, so this is a rarity for him. He has had a difficult time here in his home ballpark.
Yeah, goal number 1, try to get into the Giants bullpen. Vogelsong has been on cruise control the last couple of innings. Overbay has the lone RBI. Now he singles. And here is Elian Herrera. Brewers have 3 hits. Herrera has the other one. Infield hit. Lucroy doubled. And a called strike on the outside corner. A lot going on here in the Bay Area. Got the A's in a pennant race. A's are matching up against the Angels tonight. That's a big game in the American League West. Got the Raiders about ready to start their season. I went over and saw a little bit of the Raiders Seahawks game yesterday. I talked to Russell Wilson.
Yeah, good. What did he have to say?
He was great. He's a big baseball fan, you know, and he was
got to be happy,
asking about the Brewers. You know, he had the 1 year in Wisconsin and
Super Bowl MVP.
He played one series yesterday and took him down for a touchdown. I think it lasted a minute, the drive. And that was it. He was done. What a player he is. You know, I watched Russell Wilson during his pregame warm-ups. And I'm sure this happens a lot with the elite players in the NFL. But I just sat there for 30 minutes and watched him go meticulously through the routes, his pregame setup, his exercises, the things he does. It is fascinating to watch. Elian Herrera with a base hit. So back-to-back singles for the Brewers. And a couple of men on base to start this fifth inning. Well, now time for you to tweet your photo using hashtag WisFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming broadcast. It's all brought to you by AT&T. And we're at AT&T Park.
Every athlete has a routine that he goes through. I mean, you know, football, basketball, you name it, baseball. You see the routine that some of these guys go through. I mean, just about everybody. Now, are you going to develop a routine now that you're going to be a football announcer?
No, well, you know, I don't know. I got to work on my routine.
They were working on you a little bit, right? Kind of running you through the ropes. And
yeah.
Showing you what's going on.
I watched all the quarterbacks for both teams do their. Nobody did it like Russell Wilson did.
Yeah, I'm not. Let's change the subject.
Oh, you mean my routine?
Yeah. Were you?
Who cares?
Were you keeping an eye on Greg Papa and his routine?
Well, Greg Papa is the legendary voice of the. Can I call him legendary? Voice of the Oakland Raiders, and he's in a different world. You know, he's a radio guy. He's the Papa son. So I don't think so.
Quit skirting the issue. I mean,
I have no routine.
You went over there to learn the ropes, right?
I went over there to check it out, see what it's like in the NFL.
Good luck with that, by the way.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the experience. That's have you ever seen a Raiders game?
I have. I saw a preseason game a few years ago. That's an experience.
It's quite a different experience.
How'd you get over there?
Well, I took the old BART train over there.
Okay, all right.
Estrada drops a bunt down and a throw to first. So a sacrifice for Estrada, second and third for the Brewers. Yeah, I took the BART train over and back, which was very convenient. Quite an interesting crowd to check out. Very passionate about the Raiders.
Yes, they are.
So I didn't have any logos of any other teams or anything. I think that's when it gets a little dicey in there when you start wearing other teams' jerseys.
You got to go very plain vanilla over
that's
there.
Right, and I did. That was a good time, though, thanks to Greg Papa. Touchdown Raiders. We called a bunch of them last night. Gomez rips one to center field. Back is Pagan. And he'll make the catch for the out. Both runners will tag. And the Brewers are on the board again. That'll be a sac fly and an RBI for Gomez, and it's 8-2.
Yeah, just keep pecking away, see what happens. Of course, Brewers pitching staff has to keep the Giants off the scoreboard. You get the back-to-back base hits. Marco moves him over, and Gomez drives him in. Now the Brewers could use a big fly.
Looking for a quick strike. Scooter Gennett with 2 outs. And Herrera over at third base. Right off the end of the bat, right to Morse. And that will retire the side. Brewers get a run on an RBI from Gomez. 8-2 San Francisco. They're coming up.
Brew in the community. Brewers Community Foundation 50-50 raffle presented by Northwestern Mutual has been a huge success this season thanks to our fans. Every home game fans willingly purchase $2 raffle tickets with hopes of winning 50% of the day's raffle ticket sales. Win or not, we all know that the other 50% gives the foundation an opportunity to support a high-quality nonprofit that focuses on health, education, recreation, and basic needs. The 50-50 raffle is approaching $2 million in ticket sales. $1 million has been given away to lucky fans and $1 million for the community. Organizations funded include, but not limited to, the organizations you would have seen on your screen. There's a number of them, too many to name, but the Brewers Community Foundation doing a lot for the Milwaukee community.
All right, Telly, thanks. And here we go. Estrada back on the mound as we head to the bottom of the fifth. Giants up 8-2. Brewers just scoring again here in the top of this inning. Marco back out there to start his second inning of work. Had a long first inning of work. 38 pitches in that first inning. By the way, did you notice tonight around AT Park Rock, there's a lot of Dwayne Kuiper love.
I had a video on the scoreboard.
There's a lot of Dwayne Kuiper moments.
Is it Sturtevant night here at the ballpark?
The Sturtevant, Wisconsin native, Dwayne Kuiper. He's overdoing radio right now. He and John Miller flip-flopping. The great voice of the Giants. But we were wondering why all the hoopla around here. But you realize tonight is the night that Dwayne Kuiper on this date in 1977 hit his only major league home run.
Is that what it is?
That's what it is.
So I guess because it was his only one, they have other video that they have to show.
There's a big night for him. When
he was a great defender.
Yes, he was. Drive into right center. That's going into Triples Alley. And Pagan all the way around the bases. Fans want him to come home, but he'll settle for a triple. His third hit of the night.
And Marco with a fastball literally right down the middle of the plate, and Pagan puts a nice swing on it. And you're right, that's Triples Alley out there. It is 421 feet from home plate. Rattles around in that corner out there, and Pagan just cruises into third base standing up.
Long way out there. 421 feet, and the genius of the Giants marketing department here, they actually call that Triples Alley. They branded it Triples Alley, and before the games you can buy tickets to stand out there and watch batting practice in Triples Alley.
Because very rarely does the ball go out there, even in batting practice.
Exactly, it's free space.
That is a long way out there. It's 399 to center field, dead center field, just like it is in Pittsburgh.
Right.
But it plays a lot deeper than that.
Yes. Angel Pagan actually hit one out there once and tried to score. He got it inside the park home run, and he tore his hamstring doing it. So even though Giants fans were urging him on to try to score, not going to do it. That's a little flare, and that's going to fall for a base hit. Pagan has to hold his ground.
How about that, huh?
And Joe Panik singles. Let them get them all out of their system tonight.
Everything they touch ends up as a base hit. It's about the only way you can get a base hit with a man at third base and not get an RBI. A flare into left. Pagan was caught in no man's land, and I guess with a big lead, they weren't going to chance it. And he has to remain at third base.
And here is Buster Posey. Outs have been tough to come by tonight. Man, oh man, base runners everywhere in every inning. First and third, nobody out. And Posey takes a strike. Yeah, we always enjoy coming here to San Francisco and catching up with the Kuipers. Dwayne and his brother Jeff, his brother's a producer for the Giants. Other brother Glenn is the play-by-play voice of the A's. All Wisconsin natives.
Yeah.
Sturtevant area, Racine, and when they come to Milwaukee, they have a ton of family and friends who come to the games.
He always comes with a Kringle for the press box.
A bunch of them, like an order of like 3 dozen.
Like a 10-pack, yeah.
Yeah, those Racine Kringles. He was in Milwaukee earlier this year. He took a picture standing in the cornfield. Like 10-foot high corn stalks. So anyway, Dwayne Kuiper hit a home run off Steve Stone on this day in 1977. You play against Kuiper?
I don't recall.
He was in the National League by the time you got to the big league.
Yeah, I came up in '83.
Giants have the Hall of Famer John Miller doing Giants television right now with Mike Krukow. Great broadcasters, good buddies.
Kruk's always got his baseball, flipping it back and forth.
Posey, he drives one into right center. Gomez can't run it down. All the way to the wall it goes. This is going to bring in 2 runs. Posey's on his way to third. And he's in there with a 2 RBI triple. And this game can't end fast enough. 10-2 Giants.
Yeah, well, and the question is, who do you go to after Marco Estrada? The Brewers have a long stretch of games coming up. And you certainly don't want to blow out your entire bullpen in a game like this. So Marco is just going to have to suck it up for a while, I would imagine. You might see Gorzolani come in for a couple. And the Brewers don't have an off day for a while.
Well, the Brewers, after the off day they just had, now in a long stretch of consecutive games as Sandoval swings and misses. The next off day the Brewers will have September 15th. 17 consecutive days.
Well, the good news is on Monday they can expand the rosters, and I would imagine they're going to load up some pitchers down in that bullpen. So you still have to get through the weekend. And a short start by Willie tonight does not make that very easy.
Peralta goes just 3 innings. Gives up 6 earned runs. Estrada's come on. He's given up 4 earned runs in his inning plus. There's a ground ball to short. Posey will stay put. And the first out of the inning. Here's Hunter Pence.
I would imagine Sandoval is wondering why Posey didn't score on that. The infield was back. Ground ball to short. Of course, the Giants don't want to see Posey get in a pile up at home plate with the 8-run lead that they have.
Hunter Pence is 2 for 3 tonight. He reached on an error his last time up.
The Giants are hitting .500 with runners in scoring position tonight. Wow. We're very close to it.
One of those nights to forget. Two and two to Pence. See how Pence stands in there? He rarely steps out. Stays in the box. Those swings, a little flare into shallow center. That's going to fall a base hit. And Hunter Pence has 3 hits and 3 runs batted in. And everything the Giants touch is turning into gold tonight. 11 runs in on 14 hits.
Yeah, it's been that way all night. I mean, they have hit the ball hard on a number of occasions, but even when they don't, it ends up as a base hit.
Here's Michael Morse. Still just 1 out. Every Giant batter has reached base. Most of them have hits. Morse does not have a hit, but he's been on twice. He's walked and was hit by a pitch. Into right, Braun on the move, and he'll make the catch. Fair territory. Second out of the inning. Well, tomorrow MLB on Fox Sports 1 continues. The Cincinnati Reds and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Coverage begins at 2:30 Central on FS1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Pirates Red division matchup. NL Central looks like this. Cardinals lost tonight. Right now the Brewers up 2 games. It'd go back to a game and a half with a loss tonight for Milwaukee, and that means the Pirates are now within 3 games of the division lead. Three teams in the Central Division made it to the postseason last year. Reds, Cardinals, Pirates. Cardinals won the division. Reds and Pirates ended up in the wild card, and then the Pirates advanced. Wild card races are tight. I love the second wild card. Protects the division winners. Well, if you include the Reds in that mix, you have essentially 9 teams for 5 spots. You got the 3 division winners and then the 2 wild card spots.
Yeah, Cincinnati's 6.5 games back. I mean, that's a lot of ground to make up, particularly when you consider they've got a lot of teams to leapfrog.
Right now the wild card race has the Cardinals and the Giants. The Giants would actually leapfrog the Cardinals tonight. They'd own the top spot, which means you host the wild card game. Although the home team in the wild card matchup has not fared well, not last year anyway. And then you got the Braves, the Pirates. That ball's hit deep to right, and Gregor Blanco sends one out. Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse. A 2-run home run. Blanco adds a long ball to his 3 walks tonight. And it's 13-2 San Francisco.
And Marco Estrada just forced to wear it out there on the mound. No activity in the bullpen. A fastball down. Blanco gets good extension on it and knocks it out of here in right field.
So Gregor Blanco with his 4th home run of the season comes on a 2-strike pitch. 5 runs are in the inning. It's been the biggest inning of the night on a night full of big innings. Anyway, so what'd you do on your off day yesterday, Rock?
Yeah.
Most runs allowed in a game by the Brewers this year, 15. That was back in June against the Pirates. Most hits allowed in a game, 19. Giants are threatening both of those superlatives.
It's only the 5th inning. Keep that in mind. I mean, a long way to go. The Giants have 3 more full innings, assuming that they're not going to need the 9th. We've got to figure out a way to keep these guys off the board.
I mean, now it becomes a story of trying to get to the finish line without burning up a bullpen right now. Estrada's doing his best to get through 2 innings. But he's given up 7 runs. You're hoping Gorzalani can give you 2. He's typically a 1-inning pitcher, though. Then you might start looking at guys like Lyle Overbay or Martin Maldonado. Brewers have already had 2 position players pitch this year.
That's the last thing Ron Redicky wants to do. He hates to do it.
There's a change up and a swing and a miss. Crawford is out. A 5-run inning for the Giants. It's 13-2. Wouldn't mind jumping on one of those here in a minute. Take us back to the hotel. As promised early in the broadcast, we have the AT&T fan photo of the game. Comes from Jake, and I believe Jake celebrating their anniversary. Wish fan photo. Patching some of the information together, but I'm pretty sure Jake and his wife celebrating their anniversary. It's all brought to you by AT&T. Thanks for playing along. Got a new third baseman. Sandoval is out. And Joaquin Arias will take over at the hot corner for the Giants. Ryan Braun will lead off. Ryan Vogelsong is on the mound, and he's given up 2 runs through 5 innings. Regardless of the score, you start thinking ahead to the rest of this series. And if you're the Brewers, goal number 1 right now is try to put some heat on Vogelsong, get into the Giants bullpen, and start those wheels in motion.
You got to get yourself some confidence. I mean, it's been tough going for this Brewers offense. I mean, it's somewhat overshadowed today by the pitching and all the runs that the Giants have scored. But again, for 3 games now, The Brewers offense has been relatively stagnant.
Well, the Powerball home run leaderboard. Braun is 4th on the club in home runs. Gomez and Reynolds at the top at 21. Chris Davis is not in the lineup today. Renicky said he'd be back in there tomorrow and probably play the next 2 games.
132 home runs for the Brew Crew. They could use about 10 home runs the rest of the way here.
That's a good call. How about 11?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to go for 10, you might as well go for 11.
A couple of men on base.
Oh, I see. The 11-run homer.
Right.
Need one of those bonus balls, you know, one of those like gold bonus baseballs that count for 10 runs. Braun strikes out. Second time Vogelsong has punched him out. He's 0 for 3. And here comes Ramirez.
Well, in these kind of games, you have to figure out ways to have a silver lining. Somebody's got to step up, maybe get in that bat, take some pitches, start seeing the baseball well. Looks like Gorzelani's coming in next. See if he can get through a couple of innings, and he's got to figure out a way to make a positive out of a negative. I mean, that's what Ron Renegie's job is right now with his team in that dugout.
Ramirez pops it up. He's out in front. 2 outs.
It becomes very difficult, though, when you're in a pennant race and you have not been playing very well on this road trip. I mean, everybody talks about how important it is when the Brewers come home, and they've got the contenders to deal with, but you can't forget about these games. You have to have that same intensity when you're out on the West Coast, because you lose these games, just like you're losing to the contenders.
Yeah. Well, and this could be a postseason matchup.
Right, and nobody's saying that the Brewers are letting down because they're looking ahead to the Cardinals. I mean, that's not happening. You don't really do that in baseball.
Just make it an individual matchup. Lucroy had a double and a run scored in the second inning. He's 1 for 2. These are character builder games. These are the kind of games that you,
for everybody,
try to figure out
what
you can do. You take on the competition as it is, pitcher and batter, or on defense, or whatever that may be. And for Ron Renicky and Jerry Narron, the bench coach, their job is to try to navigate through this very difficult game without blowing out a bullpen for the rest of this series and this long stretch of games in a row.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity for Maldonado to maybe get a couple of innings. Looks like he might be coming in.
And that'll be a 1-2-3 inning for Vogelsong. Bottom of the 6th. Giants are coming up, and the Brewers going to be making some changes. 0 up in an inning against the Giants tonight. Our Carshoot.com trivia question. The last Brewers pitcher to win his 16th game of the season before September. That would be Teddy Higuera, 1986. Rock had it right. Good job, Rock.
I don't like it when I'm right. I get real quiet.
It's not true. Whoever they is.
Whoever they are.
The talent in the truck.
Yeah, the very smart, intelligent folks in that production truck.
Changes for the Brewers. Maldonado will come in to catch. Lucroy's out. Ramirez is out, as Mark Reynolds will play third base. There's a bit of a spring training feel. And Tom Gorzolani is on the mound, and the Brewers are desperate to get a couple of innings out of him.
Yeah, Gorzolani last pitched on Tuesday against the Padres. He tossed a scoreless inning, gave up a couple of walks, a hit, but no runs. He struck out a batter. He started the season on the disabled list, recovering from off-season left shoulder surgery. Came back on June 14th. Has appeared in 18 games and has done pretty well. A .55 earned run average. You can see more strikeouts than innings pitched and only 4 walks.
Vogelsong will lead off, the Giant pitcher, who had a base hit and a run scored in the second inning. I thought it might be the Brewers' night tonight when I showed up at the ballpark and saw the Giants take early batting practice. Some of the Giants came out for early BP, and it wasn't pretty. Pop up out to Jeanette. Did you see some of the Giants early BP, Rock?
I did not.
Okay. Read the promo.
Hey, guarantee your spot at Miller Park this postseason by signing on to be a 2015 Brewers season seat holder. Simply place a deposit on a 2015 ticket plan of 20 games or more, and you'll qualify for 2014 postseason privileges. For more information, call 414-902-HITS or visit brewers.com/season tickets.
No superstitious behavior when you got to make plans for the postseason. Hopefully the Brewers will be there. Ball misses down and in.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, so earlier today
LABP,
they had some early batting practice.
I didn't see it, no.
It was quite remarkable. You know, Matt Garza had the simulated game. He looked great. Looks like he's on his way back. Check out some of the Giants' early BP today, Rob. I can't tell who this player is, but yeah, that's a bad swing.
That's a boxer right there. Yeah, Manny Pacquiao?
Yeah, yes. Manny Pacquiao at the ballpark today.
You know, they were promoting a fight that's going to take place in November.
In China.
Yeah.
With Chris Algieri and Manny Pacquiao. There's a little pop-up, and Maldonado makes a play on Pagan. 2 outs. So
were you there for batting practice?
Yeah, check it out. He's a switch hitter, by the way, and he just kept swinging. He must have taken 100 cuts, and they were all just like that. No, go back to the other side. And he's got a blister, and he's got the double flap ear helmet on, and he's Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah.
So you can't really make fun of him or laugh at him, even though he was laughing at himself. But I mean, that's the best BP I've seen in a while.
Just make sure you're beyond his reach.
He's 37 years old, Manny Pacquiao. What a career, right? From the Philippines. Got a huge fight coming up. A southpaw, you know. He also threw out the first pitch, he and his opponent. Yes, he's still going. Any advice you could give? This feels a little bit like a fantasy camp situation. What would you say if Pacquiao was in fantasy camp?
Keep swinging, Manny. You're looking great.
I like how he tells his pitcher, hey, let's go. Keep throwing.
He looks like a high ball hitter, though.
Bouncing ball back up the middle. Joe Panik with a single.
Speaking of BP, I was talking to Johnny Nairn today around the batting cage. There will not be any batting practice. Here we go.
Oh, this is the first pitch. This was all right.
Now there's a catcher over there. It's not off the mark. There you see him.
There's his opponent.
Sergio Romo is in the middle.
Chris Algieri will be his opponent.
And you think they've started to train for a November fight?
Oh, yeah. No question.
I don't think so. I mean,
well, I don't know. I mean,
it's August.
When you get into the late training, but he's doing something, isn't he? They had a big media blitz.
Yeah, taking BP
today.
at AT Park.
With
That's
blisters.
What they're doing, yeah. These guys aren't very big, are they?
No, he's 140 pounds he's going to get to.
Right.
And could drop an elephant with one swing.
Right. Yeah, but I was saying that I was talking to Johnny, there's not going to be any batting practice on the field tomorrow. It's dog day out here.
Oh.
They're going to have a big dog parade. I think there's going to be dogs on the field from 3 o'clock on.
Wow. So it'd be dangerous for the dogs to have batting practice.
Going to be a little bit of cleanup to do.
Why is it that the Brewers always get the dog day at the park? I mean, don't you think that's ironic?
They had Bark at the Park in San Diego, right?
I feel like it's the third or fourth one we've been to this year.
Don't know.
Dog days of August, you know, you get the promotion.
Right.
They're always thinking here. Does that make you miss your dog on dog day at the park?
Not yet. Maybe
I'd be stressed out to have my dog at the park. I don't really have a dog, but when I did have a dog, I'd be stressed out to bring him to the park.
Otis doesn't do well amongst other dogs. He's kind of a social pariah. He didn't like other dogs.
And why is that, Rob?
I'm not sure.
They say they take after their master.
No, that's not true.
I don't know.
You know, both myself and Kate, very social people.
Yeah, but how about with other dogs? Posey with another hit. Boy, this guy is putting on a show tonight. 5 hits already for Posey. He has a hit himself in every inning but the third.
Well, you figure he's not going to be in this game much longer either.
Second career 5-hit game. He had one last year in July. That was in an extra inning game, a 16-inning game. He's got 5 hits, 5 at-bats. And it's first and third now with 2 away. Here's Joaquin Arias hitting for Sandoval. The Giants have 17 hits. Buster Posey's batting average, by the way, and we're late in the season, right?
Yep.
Late. It's at 297. He has raised his batting average 8 points tonight in 5 at-bats in August. That's a big night. Well, that makes you feel better. Famous Clements Racing sausage accounted for here tonight.
Yep, the Italian.
I wonder if, since we just passed the Clements sausage inning, you know, at home they run between the 6, but
right.
We could kind of come up with a bobblehead race in the stands. You know who called me the other day wanting a racing sausage bobbles?
Who's that?
Of all the people you can imagine, you'll never guess. Jaime Jarrín.
Really?
The Hall of Fame.
Is that
radio.
what he wanted?
Yes.
I know somebody came in, you know, their Spanish radio guy.
Yeah.
Came in and said, do you mind if Jaime Jarrín wants your phone number?
Right. Why didn't he ask for your phone number?
Well, he didn't think I had the juice, but he's right.
That's not true. Runner takes off, a bouncing ball to third. And Reynolds will make the play. First scoreless inning of the night.
I didn't think you'd mind Jaime having your number.
Not at all.
Sorry.
And we're sending him a package of racing sausage bobbles. The Brewers Powerball home run count is at 132. They're second in the National League. And they could use a whole bunch of them the rest of this game and the rest of this series.
That's the only home run the Brewers have hit on this road trip so far. That Ryan Braun home run, that came on Monday. Actually, Ramirez hit one as well. My mistake. They've got two, both in the same game. Ryan Braun, Ramos Ramirez. Both coming off of Eric Stoltz as Andrew Susac takes over behind home plate.
Now the Brewers won the first game of this road trip in San Diego 10-1 and have not won since. In danger of dropping their third consecutive game. Gerardo Parra leads off. Got a crowd tonight of over 41,000 on Orange Friday at AT&T Park. Temperatures in the low 60s, winds blowing out. And the Giants with 13 runs on 17 hits. Peralta and Estrada giving up all 13 of those runs. Tom Gorzelani just got through an inning scoreless. It's the first one of the night. Now, the Giants have not been able to plate a run. They've had a 5-run inning, had a 3-run first inning.
And it looks like he's going out for another.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it too, it looks like.
The question is, who's going to pitch the 8th? Been a while for Brandon Kinsler. It's been Monday last time he was on the mound. Could be Brandon to get an inning.
There's a swing and a miss. Parra strikes out.
Fifth strikeout for Vogelsong. Lost in all this offense by the Giants is the pitching performance by Ryan Vogelsong tonight. One of the rare times that he has pitched well here at home. Of course, he's pitched well, sometimes hasn't gotten any run support. Let's just say he's in line for a rare win at home.
See Overbay at the plate, presented by Wendy's. Up there hacking away, first pitch. Last time Vogelsong won a game here in his home park was back in May. Actually had back-to-back wins in May against the Marlins and the Twins. 6 1/3 now. He has 5 Ks with a walk. Giving up 4 hits. Overbay drove in a run with a ground out in the second inning and then singled and scored in the 5th. Gomez has the other RBI. Giants have set a season high in runs scored tonight. It had been 12. They did that way back in April against the Rockies. And Overbay strikes out. Back-to-back Ks for Vogelsong. 6 strikeouts. Elian Herrera continues to hit. He's in our shining moment, brought to you by the Marshfield Clinic. 2 hits tonight, including the infield chop in the second inning, and then he had a single to right his next time up. And every time Renicky puts him in the lineup, he's coming up with multiple hits. That's back-to-back games with at least 2 hits.
Yeah, he and Lyle Overbay started the 5th inning with back-to-back base hits. So 2 of the 4 hits belong to Herrera.
Two gone in the inning. Brewers have not had a hit since Herrera's single. Vogelsong retired 8 in a row until Overbay singled, and then Herrera backed him up with a single. And now Vogelsong has retired 8 in a row again. They're going to the 9th inning in Anaheim, the Angels lead the A's 4-0. They're shutting them out tonight. Houston Street trying to close it out. Jared Weaver went 7 shutout in that game. That's a big ball game for the Angels. Herrera strikes out. Vogelsong strikes out the side. Stretch time in San Francisco.
Mike Fiers, and he's a part of our Miller Lite What's on Tap. He'll be the Game 2 starter of this 3-game series, making his 5th start of the season. He'll face Jake Peavy. Mike Fiers, in 4 starts so far since he rejoined the Brewers, he has pitched at least 6 innings and not allowed more than 3 hits in each of those 4 starts. And I had a chance to talk to Mike Fiers today. You can see that entire interview on Brewers Live tomorrow. And he talked about how he's been able to just make the most of this opportunity. He wanted to come up, and he understood that if this was a chance for him, if this was going to be his last shot at the big league level, he was going to give it everything he had, and he's making it real tough for Ron Renicky and staff to decide who is going to come out of the rotation once Matt Garza returns.
All right, thanks, Telly. Yeah, that is going to be an interesting decision. We can kind of go through the pros and the cons of both pitchers, Jimmy Nelson or Mike Fiers. And, of course, you never know. That there could be injuries moving forward. And I can understand why Renicky is keeping that close to the vest right now, because you don't want to announce that before you absolutely have to. But Jimmy Nelson's a power arm that could play in the bullpen, but he hasn't done it that much. Spent a little time in the bullpen last year for the Brewers. Fiers has extensive time in the bullpen, but he's been dominant as a starter right now. So
difficult to justify taking him out of the rotation right now.
I think the Brewers are going to be content. This is my own guess now, just kind of reading between the lines with what I'm hearing from Renicky and Kranitz. They're going to be content to maybe go with a 6-man rotation in the short term, as Gorzelani walks Hunter Pence to start the bottom of the 7th. And I think that's a good move, because you don't know how effective Garza is going to be coming back after being down for a month. So you'll have expanded rosters. You'll have some options in the bullpen. But you go with that 6-man rotation. Everybody gets an extra day. And then once you come back around the second time through that rotation, then somebody comes out. A base hit by Morse. Giants are making the game look easy tonight.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
That is their 18th hit. They are 2 hits away from their season high. They had 20 against the Pirates on May 5th. They've already scored the most runs in a game this season. Gorzelani with 2 on. No pitcher has escaped the wrath of the Giants' bats here tonight. Peralta gave up 6 runs, all earned in 3 innings. Marco Estrada gave up 7 runs, 5 earned in 2 innings. Gorzelani did work a scoreless 6, but in trouble here in the 7th. The Angels finished off the A's tonight, so the Angels won 4-0. Jared Weaver joins the 15-win club. Oakland continues to struggle. Boy, ever since they traded Cespedes to the Red Sox, it has been tough sledding for the Oakland Athletics. They gave away a lot. They gave away their cleanup hitter. They made the deal with the Cubs to get Samardzija and Hamels. They traded their 2 best prospects.
Yeah, right in the middle of a pennant race.
You wonder.
Tough to do.
I think fans in Oakland are thinking same way the Brewers are thinking right now. Hopefully they've hit the bottom, hit the valley, so they can start playing well. You figure the A's are going to get hot again. They got a good ball club, good pitching. As Gorzelani strikes out Blanco, first time he's been retired tonight. 3 walks and a home run.
Hey, it's always Miller time in the Middle Light Beer Pen every Friday home game, including next Friday against the Cardinals. Fans 21 plus who sit in the Miller Light Beer Pen will get a free Miller Light Brewers hat. For details, visit brewers.com/beer pen. Sounds good about now. The hat, I mean.
Oh, I see, yeah. One gone. Crawford at the plate. The Nationals beat the Mariners tonight. Jordan Zimmerman, the Wisconsin native, he returned to the rotation and he won. He beat Felix Hernandez tonight. How about that? A game with Zimmerman and Hernandez, and there was a combined 24 hits.
You never know, do you?
That's a big win for Washington. They have the best record in the National League. Washington is 19 games over 500. Mariners are chasing a wild card spot. Did you see the Mariners gave Jack Zarenzik an extension?
Deserves it.
General manager. Former Brewer scouting director under Doug Melvin.
They're right in the thick of it.
That skips away from Maldonado. Runners will stay put. Marlins starting a big series with the Atlanta Braves, and the Braves won tonight 5-2. Atlanta got a win from David Carpenter. Kimbrel got his 40th save, so it becomes the first National Leaguer to 40 saves. Braves got some bad news there. Superb left-hander Johnny Venters has torn the ligament in his elbow again. He was coming back from a second Tommy John surgery, and it is re-torn.
Yeah.
So now a decision to make to have it done for a 3rd time. And who knows what the rest of his career is going to look like. Well, that guy was as wicked as it got from the left side.
Billy Wagner type. I mean, how hard he threw from the left side. Amazing.
It's a sad story. Possible career-ending injury for Venters. Braves are knocking at the door, that wild card spot inching closer after the Cardinals lost today. And Gorzelani walks Crawford to load the bases. And the Giants are going to go to their bench here. Travis Ishikawa will come in to hit. And Renick's got to go get Gorzelani. So he's going to make a double switch here. Gorzelani on the mound with his palms up as if to say, why are you, I'm good to stay on here. But I think Renick's been very careful with Gorzelani coming back from shoulder surgery. He'll make a double switch.
Kinsler could probably use the work. Get him in, finish this inning, and then pitch the 8th. Gorzelani doesn't look very pleased.
Well, Gorzelani. They lead at 13-2. Our Marshfield Clinic leaders in relief. Brandon Kinsler on to work. It'll be his 51st appearance. You got Smith, Duke, and K-Rod are your 3 pitchers who work when the Brewers have leads or the game is tied late.
Yeah, finished the game on Monday in the Brewers' victory against the Padres. Tossed a scoreless 9th inning. Gave up a couple of hits, but did not allow a run. And making appearance number 51.
Travis Ishikawa will pinch hit. It's got to be a pitch count scenario with Gorzelani because Ishikawa, as you see, Segura, who came into the game on the double switch to play short. And you got the switch hitter Pagan due up next. Ishikawa right to Jeanette. And Segura turns a double play, so that protects the ERA of Tom Gorzelani. Kinsler gets the ground ball double play to end the inning. Introducing the Milwaukee Bucks' new Cheer the Future ticket plan. You can purchase a 2014-15 full season ticket plan in select locations prior to August 31st, and you receive great discounts if you do that for the next season, the 15-16 season. For full details, visit foxsportswisconsin.com. Click on the More tab. George Contos, just up from the minor leagues earlier this week, enters the game here in the Brewers half of the 8th.
15th appearance for Contos, a 3-0 record, so he's been able to pick up some wins out of the bullpen. 21 innings, 21 strikeouts, and has not allowed a home run.
Gregor Blanco now in center field. Pagan is out. Ishikawa will stay in to play left. Mark Reynolds will bat for the first time tonight. Ryan Vogelsong finishes with a flurry. Retired the final 9 he faced. And he struck out the side in his last inning. He finished with 7 strikeouts in 7 innings, 2 earned runs. In line for his first win at AT&T Park since late May. Peralta on the hook for the loss. 3 innings and 6 earned runs. And it's been ugly from the start here tonight. Things are tightening up in the American League Central. Tigers won. They beat the White Sox behind Verlander. The Royals lost. Indians are getting hot right now, just like they did last year. Cleveland had a late August, September push. Made it into the postseason as the wild card team last year. That's what it looks like right now in the American League. The A's lead for that top spot down to 4.5. Tigers are now in the second position. The Mariners lost tonight to the Nationals. Yankees are in there. Indians are in there. Orioles are running away with the American League East. And now the Angels up 3 games on the A's in the American League West. Best race in that division's in the Central, just like it is in the National League. Similar storylines with the Central divisions in both leagues, with the perennial powerhouses. As Reynolds strikes out, the dominant teams in the divisions over the years, the Cardinals and the Tigers, and then the upstarts, the Brewers and the Royals. Can you imagine a Royals-Brewers World Series?
That'd be nice.
That would be something.
Brewers anybody World Series would be nice.
Yeah, you don't mind, right?
I don't care who they play.
Just,
but good for the Royals if they end up there.
Yeah.
Makes no difference to me.
Contos facing Gomez. In the air to center field. And Blanco is there. Fly balls go to die at night in this park. And Gomez is out. 0 for 2 tonight with a walk and a sac fly. 2 outs in the 8th. Scooter Gennett coming up. The Dodgers and the Dodgers and the Padres are in extra innings tonight. 2-2 game. 10th inning. A Dodger loss and a Giants win would put the Giants 3.5 back in their division. National League playoff picture. Nationals, Brewers, Dodgers still at the top. Brewers are going to remain that way. And the Giants and the Cardinals. Giants leapfrogging the Cardinals with a win tonight. Gennett rolls out, inning over, 3 up, 3 down for Contos. Giants are coming up, bottom of the 8th. All right, thanks a lot, Jeff. Yeah, no question. And some of the great voices of their particular sports here in San Francisco. Lon Simmons, of course, Hank Greenwald, legendary voice here in the Bay Area. Greg Papa, now the voice of the Raiders. And
John Miller right next to us.
Yeah, the Hall of Famer John Miller. Contos getting an at-bat here. A bouncer over to Overbay and one away here in the bottom of the 8th. Well, Kinsler, if he can get through this bottom of the 8th inning, as you see Davis in left. Coming in for Parra. Parra moves to center field. Gomez is out. Kinsler could take this one to the end as far as pitchers go for the Brewers, so they would get 2 innings from Estrada. You figure he's going to be down tomorrow. Gorzelani goes an inning and 2/3. Inning and a third, I should say. As Joe Panic with a base hit for good measure. And that one's going all the way into the gap. Panic in with a double. How about his night? Posey's had 5 hits. That's the 4th for Panic. 3 singles and now a double.
It stays on that baseball. I mean, there's no running out the clock in baseball. These guys, they get their at-bats. They want to get hits. They're fully dialed in at the plate. There's no making out just to get one over. Beautiful part of this game. Got to play it all the way through to 27 outs.
Andrew Susak batting for the first time.
You can't take the snap and take a knee, right? You got to get the out. These guys want to get hits.
Ground ball to Reynolds. Flips it over to Overbay. 2 outs in the inning. And that'll bring up Joaquin Arias.
Giants have had 22 at-bats with runners in scoring position tonight.
That's a lot of at-bats, right?
8 for 22. Wow.
And most of that came early. They've had runners on everywhere.
Well, they've had at-bats with runners in scoring position in every inning.
Now, even the scoreless inning, there's been 2 scoreless innings for the Giants tonight. They left 2 on in the 6th inning and then had the bases loaded with 1 out last inning, bounced into a double play. So stranded 2 in each of those innings. Posey had the big night, 5 hits. Pence drove in 3 runs on 3 hits and a walk. Reached base all 5 times. Joe Panic with 4 hits. Bill Schroeder had 2 hits. And Dwayne Kuiper hit a home run. In the right, Braun is there. And Kinsler does a good job to clean up the mess. Goes an inning and 2/3. Last call for the Brewers. They need 11. convinced their Giants are going to hang on to win this game. Crowd over 41,000 here tonight on a Friday. 13-2 our score. Last call for the Brewers. Contos back on the mound, trying to give Bochy a couple of innings. Ryan Vogelsong went 7 strong, 2 earned runs. Now the Brewers will send up Mike Fiers tomorrow. He has been that stopper that the Brewers have been looking for. Fiers has won his last 4 starts and a 1.54 ERA. Jake Peavy on the mound for the Giants. Sunday it'll be Loesch against Madison Bumgarner. Fiers coming off a win his last time out against the Pirates. Snapped a 3-game losing streak. That's what the Brewers are facing here.
Mike Fiers hoping that the Giants got all the hits out of him for the weekend. 19 hits in 1 game, and Fiers has been outstanding with the fastball and the curveball, the changeup. There's his last 3 starts. Very good for Mike.
Brewer pitching surrendering 19 hits tonight. That matches a season high. That happened on one other occasion against the Reds back in mid-June. 13 runs for the Giants, 2 shy of a season high by Brewers pitching. But a tough night for Braun. 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Brewers have just 4 hits tonight. Lucroy had a double. Overbay a single. And Herrera 2 hits, both singles. Braun, little cue shot. That is going to fall. A base hit. Well, you'll take that. A 2-strike pitch, and Braun with a base hit.
Any way to get on base, any way to get on that hit column. Right off the end of the bat, he handles that pitch away extremely well. Now, these are the kind of losses that you can easily forget about. You head home, you forget about them. It's one of those nights. I mean, you can handle losses like this much better than the one the Brewers had to think about for a couple of days on Wednesday. Those late inning losses where 1 hit here or there, an out or a pitch, and you get a win.
Maldonado rolls to third. They get it out at second, over to first for an out. Nicely turned double play by the Giants. Arias to Panic to Morse.
Yeah, that's a big league double play by Arias. Not hit very hard. The Giants had the right guy running down the line, and Arias' throw to second right on the money.
And the Brewers are down to their last out. Segura will bat for the first time. Be curious to see what Renicky does at the shortstop position tomorrow. Elian Herrera did make an error tonight, but he has 2 more hits tonight. I mean, this guy's really swinging the bat, Herrera. What was supposed to be 1 start, Segura swings at the first pitch, and that's that. This one mercifully ends. 13-2, the Giants win. San Francisco's won 4 in a row now, and the Brewers have dropped 3 in a row, but they have not dropped any games in the standings. They still have a 1.5 game lead over the St. Louis Cardinals, who also lost tonight. But right behind them both, the Pittsburgh Pirates now within 3. Game 2 tomorrow. That sets us up for Brewers Live as we send it to Jeff Grayson in our Fox Sports Wisconsin studio. Jeff?